15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
He's the reigning Fortnite champion. She's a Call of Duty legend. They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
The week was marked by some major upsets. Almost had another one last night. Hey, good morning. Welcome to Maggie and Perloff. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff on CBS Sports Radio. The 49ers go down, the Eagles go down, and the Bills almost went down last night, Perloff. And you could argue that I don't know if they even deserved to win that game. It came down to literally an untimed down, the last play of the game, and the Bills may have gotten away with one. Just a wild, wild week 6.
Yeah, I don't want to hear it. I don't want to hear about the Bills almost losing. That's garbage, Maggie. Because my Philadelphia Eagles actually lost. That's an L, and this isn't Deion logic. A win is a win. A loss is a loss. The Eagles had every chance in the world to be the only undefeated team in football for whatever that's worth, and they completely blew it. At least your Bills got a win. What are you complaining about?
Well, I am complaining because the Bills, to me, through that game, and we'll talk about your Eagles, and the Jets get a big win, and they go to 3-3 with Aaron Rodgers, no crutches, didn't even look like he had a cast on the sideline throwing footballs, so we got all that for you. But the Bills, to me, through this game, I'm like, the Bills are the Dallas Cowboys of the AFC. There's no way that they're actually going to win. They get hyped up, but if they keep playing like that, there's no chance they're going to beat better teams. It's almost like a carbon copy of what they did week 1 against the Jets. The offense, everyone on the offense thought they were making the Pro Bowl off last night. They were 14-point favorites going into the game. I think they thought, we're going to pad our stats. We're going to just blow the doors off of them. In the meantime, the Giants had another plan. They played really good defense, and Tyrod Taylor as a backup quarterback was doing just enough outside of one major mistake at the end of the first half where they opted into a run play. They audible into a run play with only 12 seconds left, and they got stuffed. Saquon Barkley gets stuffed at the goal line, and then they couldn't run another play. So they left 3 points on the board there.
But explain to me, so they took the Giants for granted last night. Why does that mean they're not going to be better teams? Because they lost a crappy game in London? They killed the Dolphins.
No, but, okay, so they play well against the Dolphins.
Wait, the Cowboys do not be better teams.
So you can get up for the big game and you can be disciplined in the big game. But a sign of a good team, I think, is when you can put away bad teams. The Giants went in. They had basically no offensive line. They're playing with the backup quarterback. They were losing guys on defense left and right. And the Bills are supposed to be the much better team, and they let the Giants hang around. Hell, the Giants were leading midway through the fourth quarter in that game.
But what is more important? Are you sure the sign of a good team is putting away these really hurt team with a backup quarterback, or is it getting up for a few weeks they play Cincinnati? Like, that to me is more of a litmus test.
Well,
they're going to win their next 2 games. They got New England and Tampa Bay. They're going to be 6-2 going into that game. Like, which Bills team is the real Bills team?
If they can learn from this, if you can learn something off of a win, then maybe they can be in good shape. But they lost to the Jets in week 1, as I mentioned, with Aaron Rodgers getting hurt and Zach Wilson coming in. They never changed up the game plan, and they lost. Then they had a bit of a wake-up call, and it lasted for, about 3 weeks. And then they went back to playing the kind of hero ball that's going to get them in trouble, where Josh Allen feels like he has to do everything. They do not run the ball. Listen, it seems like I'm over complaining after a win, but if you are a Bills fan, that game is just so familiar when they play down to the competition.
Yeah, but the big concern is they should be looking at the Chiefs, and I don't care about that game. Honestly, it was just a garbage game. Don't you think that they were overlooking this team? Everyone had them in their suicide pool. They just weren't up for the game.
Yeah.
Here's my question. Can they run the ball, and can anybody except Josh Allen step up here?
They have to be able to run the ball if they're going to win.
That's the problem.
What?
That they can't.
No, of course not.
Yeah.
And the thing is Allen doesn't want to run in that punishing style until he absolutely has to.
Which is all game, every game now.
Last night, you saw him get a crucial first down on the second touchdown drive they had using his legs, but they don't want him taking the unnecessary hits, which I get. So he has to save all the Superman stuff until the end. It was a nightmare watching that game.
I don't want to make you feel any worse, but
go ahead.
I'll tell you who I have questions about. Ken Dorsey,
you
their
think?
offensive coordinator, because there's never any easy offense. There's never any Sean McVay or Kyle Shanahan plays that are drawn up that is just like Josh Allen has an easy pass to anyone. He's always got to fire it into some tight window to Stephon Diggs. It's tough.
I mean, they didn't score until the first play of the fourth quarter. I mean, interception, missed field goal, punt, fumble, punt, just awful. And I think at one point, I'd like to think, at one point, the head coach of the Bills, Sean McDermott, actually got on a headset and told Ken Dorsey, if you don't start running the ball, I'm going to fire you at halftime. I want to think that conversation happened. It makes me feel better to think that.
Okay, let me ask you, which of the three, I mean, there's 2 losses and 1 near loss here. Which team comes away from Sunday most worried? The Eagles, the Niners, who lost to the Browns, or the Bills, who, they won. At least they won. Barely won. Barely. It's a win, though.
No, it is a win.
But
listen, win. If you can learn off of a loss.
Who should be most worried by that game?
If I were, I'd probably say the Bills because I'm a fan of the Bills and because I'm always a little sky is falling with that organization. And I think that the Eagles lost to what is a really good defense. The problem is you had a moment. Let's flip over to the Eagles for a second, because you had a moment, Perloff, and you're a diehard Philadelphia fan, where Jalen Hurts gets the ball back with about 147 left to go and 1 timeout. No matter what you've done all game, if you're the franchise quarterback, like we saw with Josh Allen last night, the gotta have it touchdown, the gotta have it something. And Jalen Hurts came up really small in that moment.
Oh, come on. You're going to go 60 yards against a defense that knows you got to get in the end zone. All they have to do is protect the end zone. That was not an easy drive. Do you think a lot of quarterbacks are going to drive down on that Jets defense and score a touchdown on that spot? Heck no.
They are very good, but Jalen Hurts is like MVP candidate level. Like, this is a Philadelphia Eagles team that was 1 play away from the Super Bowl last year, winning the Super Bowl.
They lost. They lost. They were at 14-3 on Zach Wilson. That's like equivalent to 35-0 on any other quarterback.
And couldn't close them out.
Yeah, Jake Elliott, the second best kicker in the league, missed a chippy. And then Jalen Hurts, I don't know why he threw that interception at the end. He threw 3 interceptions on the game. 2 were 100% not his fault. 1 was really a fumble. I think the scores, Dallas Goedert had it, made a football move, and then popped it out. So Hurts had a great game overall. He was amazing. They just could not, kept every play alive. But that last drive, at that point, the Eagles sort of were a mess. I think the big worry is how good are they without Lane Johnson? His backup Driscoll, one of the picks was because Driscoll let somebody go right by him. I think the Eagles have health problems, but as far as like learning anything from that game, they were due a loss. All these teams, the Bills were due a loss. The Niners were due a loss. Sometimes you need to coach off after a loss. I think this is a necessary wake-up call for the Eagles, who have a gauntlet of a schedule coming up. I'm not panicked at all. Sometimes great teams throw away a game. This is where you and I kind of differ. I'm not as concerned about how they play against bad competition. I want to see them against a good competition.
Yeah, I see. I think that's dangerous because you're going to get everybody's best effort when you are the 49ers, when you're the Eagles, when you're the Bills. You are getting the other team's best effort because those are the three of the teams that are going to be in the mix, you'd think. Definitely for the playoffs and also for the Super Bowl. Can we hear a little sound, please? Let's go to Jalen Hurts, Pete. Can we get cut number 4? Jalen Hurts saying they made too many mistakes to win this game. They gave it away.
You have so many missed opportunities and really so many mistakes as if you kind of giving it away, and look at the last loss we've had in the regular season, I've had in the regular season against Washington last year, and just look at the turnovers. You turn the ball over 4 times, you shouldn't expect to win.
That was it. 3 interceptions by Hurts, and of course, you got the fumble by DeAndre Swift. I mean, that's the reason why.
And a huge drop by Devontae Smith, who never drops it. Never, ever drops it.
And as far as the turnovers, I mean, that was the story. That was the difference.
Yeah, and the like I said, the first pick was Dallas Goedert caught the ball, turned to his left, and some guy poked it out of his hand. Like, he is playing really soft. The whole team is playing soft. So I think this is This is what they needed. I know that sounds so weird, but this is exactly the kind of loss that maybe it's like smelling salts to this team, who everyone has said has looked sluggish, right? You've heard that narrative. Yeah. So for the Eagles,
their red zone has been not what we saw last year, which was basically the Eagles were somewhat automatic when they would get into the red zone last year, scoring touchdowns on like 67% of their drives or whatever last season. Well, this year it's been woefully bad.
What's the percentage of Jalen Hurts running those in that 67%? Like 50% of Jalen Hurts touchdowns, right? And he just is not as excited to run the ball anymore now that he's gotten paid. But that's a side point. I am not. See, I think the Eagles, I would say the team that I'm most worried about of the three teams that we mentioned is the Bills, because the Bills showed all their flaws. The Eagles, really, if they're healthy, they kill those Jets. Everyone knows that. If they're healthy, they're going to compete with everybody. That loss, as Jalen Hurts said, like they had every opportunity to win that. They just threw it away as if they weren't trying. The Bills, I feel like you saw some real flaws.
That's a problem? I mean,
no, because
okay,
no,
it looks like they weren't trying, but I'm not worried at all. Okay,
yeah, I mean, listen, that happens to good teams. It happened to your Bills in Week 1 against the Jets. It happened to the Chiefs against the Lions in Week 1. Sometimes great teams just sort of have a dud during the regular season. No one's going 17-0. Only one team ever has gone 16. Two have gone 16-0.
It's not.
You're going to lose some games.
You are going to lose some games. I think everyone understands that. It's not just this is where you and I differ. I think you can look at how you lost the game.
Right. So,
or how you won the game and can be critical off of that. Like if I'm the Eagles, I'm not feeling great about the fact that I had my all-pro quarterback with the game. Basically, like you had the shot. And I know the Jets defense is really, really good, but in terms of like gotta have it plays, you had Jalen Hurts with the one timeout under 2 minutes. I don't think it's unreasonable to think he's going to move the team down the field to score there. The thing about the Bills, I think you can be critical off of a win is, you're right, this is not the first time we've seen them play a really bad game. They played a terrible game against the Jets. You say, all right, it's opening night. They got all weird because Rodgers went out. They never adjusted the game plan. This was a carbon copy. You saw a second time when they totally had a terrible game plan for the opponent.
Yeah, and my problem with the Bills is they're 100% reliant on Josh Allen scrambling. Without that, what is their offense without that ability?
Nothing. I mean, they need it to be able to be more multiple than what they've shown.
Right. So the Eagles, how many times has Jalen Hurts thrown that pick he did at the end in his career?
Not much.
Not much. Zero. That's the first time he's ever thrown a pick. Like, so how can you be worried about that when it's never happened before? I think it's a one-time. How many times does Jake Elliott miss a 37-yarder in the fourth quarter?
You had guys missing field goals yesterday.
Yeah,
big time.
Never.
49ers know that better than anybody with Jake Moody.
I mean, you can't. Everyone's going to be like, the sky is falling. Listen, the sky might be falling next week against Miami when they put on 42 on this defense. I just think that sometimes you give away games, and I know that sounds pretty weak, but I'm not worried at all about what I saw. The only worry is health. These teams have to stay healthy. The Bills, my worries are a little deeper because I don't understand their offense. It just looks so difficult to move the football.
Yeah. EJ, you seem like you want to say something. Jets fan here, get yours in.
I mean, I'm excited for the Jets getting the win. I don't know how great to feel about it because, as Pete just told me, they only scored one touchdown, and the Eagles essentially gave them that touchdown.
Yeah.
So
they did give them the touchdown. Yeah. Like they literally let the Jets score at the end, and it was funny because people were getting on the Jets like, how do you not run the clock? I'm like, have you watched the Jets offense? Do you think they're in any way sophisticated enough to do this complicated maneuver where they bleed the clock out from like the 4-yard line? There's no chance they could pull that off.
No chance at all. But I am a little worried about the Eagles. Like I've been a Jalen Hurts guy, and I've been kind of an Eagles guy for the last year and a half. Mm-hmm. And they do not look like the team I thought that really kind of dominated the NFL for much of last season. And that would be my concern. Not necessarily with the three interceptions, 2 of them being a little fluky. Just there isn't the smoothness with how they're able to just dominate. And maybe it is to Hurts not running more, but then that's a problem because the thing you can just turn the switch on and off when you have other strong NFC teams. The Lions are coming. The 49ers are the 49ers. I don't think you can play football that way. We can just turn it off during the regular season against teams you don't care about.
I think you have to in this. You can't run your quarterback. I mean, the same problem with the Bills. You just can't run your quarterback like he's 23 all the time. At some point, the quarterback has to stop running the ball, or they're not going to survive.
Right, but there's got to be I think there's a focus level that the Eagles just haven't played with offensively. Yeah. Beyond that just is a little worrisome because again, you're going to have to get in rhythm in the right time, and maybe they will. But like this is now a third of the season where we're still saying, hey, how come the Eagles offense hasn't really turned it up the way we expected?
But do you think, you watched the game, do you think Jalen Hurts looked good yesterday, except for the last pick?
I thought he was doing way too much yesterday.
I thought he looked great. I mean, he was putting balls on guys' hands all the time. He was escaping every sack. There was huge drops. Kenneth Gainwell dropped the first down, and Devontae dropped it. I thought he gets a really good defense. He sort of had them in the palm of his hand. It felt like he was kind of doing whatever he wanted.
I think maybe you could say that in the first half. I don't think you could say that in the second half. I think in the second half, the Jets defense seemed to really bother him a little bit. He definitely was able to evade sacks, which was frustrating as a Jets fan that they couldn't get him on the ground. But I think that the whole offense was frustrated by the way the Jets. I don't know if they adjusted things.
I think they thought they had the game won and started calling it really conservatively, which played right into the Jets' hand. But, I mean, he had 280 yards against the Jets. It's pretty good. It's not bad.
Peter King, Football Morning in America, writing about the Jets and the Eagles yesterday, he thought that Jalen Hurts looked broken at the end. Like the Jalen Hurts, this was uncharacteristic of Hurts, who is normally like super engaged, super everything, that he was like staring off into space before that final drive. And that basically that a good team, he said, it looks like the Jets by the end of the game just beat this very good team down. That was Peter King's analysis.
So the guy who filled in for Lane Johnson was a revolving door. There was so much, every mistake Jalen Hurts made, he was under 100% pressure. That last drive, you were ripping him for not completing it. There wasn't a second back there. He was
incomplete, 2-yard completion, incomplete, ball game over.
The first incomplete, like the guy was about to pummel him, so he threw it a foot over. He threw it a little high, and it hit A.J. Brown in the hands. I don't know. To me, that problem was the pass rush at the end, not Jalen Hurts. I thought Jalen Hurts looked amazing. As Mark Sanchez said, is like what did they call him?
Russell Wilson.
He called him a slippery salmon at some point.
No, he said he was like a
strong salmon with
salmon
Vaseline
covered in Vaseline.
Yeah, I mean,
is that a saying?
No,
Sanchez is odd.
What?
I just think that Jalen Hurts, to me, I know he threw those picks. If he didn't have those picks on his resume and they'd won that game, I mean, if they'd won that game, would we be saying, oh, Jalen Hurts looked really bad last night? No.
Well, yes, if he didn't throw the picks and they won the game, of course we'd be telling you he looked good, but he did throw those picks and they lost.
If Jake Elliott hits that field goal and they just run the ball, we're not concerned about Jalen Hurts. So I think the win-loss aspect of it, yeah, that one pick. If he had not thrown that, then he'd be like, oh, that was a gutsy effort by Jalen Hurts.
But if we're going to talk about injuries and Lane Johnson going on, I mean, he went up against the Jets' backup corners. One guy who came off the practice squad and was making defensive plays. I mean, I thought that when I saw no Sauce, no G.J. Reed, that we were going to see, Jalen Hurts put up, 330, 4 touchdowns. The Jets pass rush got after him, but, I mean, you got A.J. Brown, Devontae Smith, and you couldn't do more against, Bryce Hall, who was essentially almost cut in training camp.
Yeah, they did that thing. They were playing like they had a lead the whole time. They were just like, let's just run out the clock. Zach Wilson can't score on us, which is a logic, which is not bad logic.
I mean, listen, today's not a day to dump on Zach Wilson because the Jets got to win, but it kind of is. Because the Jets got to win, and EJ and every diehard Jets fan will tell you the defense obviously was the reason. I mean, Wilson is still... It's still not capable.
It's crazy. I mean, I literally tweeted before the interception. I said the Jets' only chance to win this game is if the defense gets a turnover and maybe even scores. Like I didn't even know if they got the ball back, that they'd be able to execute a field goal correctly, or that they definitely were able to get the ball in the end zone. And in fact, again, the only way they scored was the Eagles letting them score. I mean, their ceiling is so obviously capped with Zach Wilson.
Yeah, which is why that Jalen Hurts,
and that's it.
That's why that Jalen Hurts pick was so bad, because the Jets had nothing on offense. But the Eagles did outgain them by over 100 yards. Like, they dominated the game. It's just some of this happens. You've seen it happen to your team 1,000 times.
And I'm not happy about it, and I'm not writing it off, and I'm not making excuses for them. I'm saying that my team does this, and I think that they deserve to be criticized. I think they're bad. Now, listen, my team hasn't made it to the Super Bowl. Yours has. Maybe you have a little more belief, but
I honestly, for your team, mailing in a game against the Giants is not your concern. Your concern is what happens in the divisional round when we get the Kansas City Chiefs. Because it's happening, Maggie. I'm sorry. As negative as you are against the Bills, they're going to storm through this AFC East.
855-2124-CBS, 855-2124-2227. All right, lots to get to. We never even got to the 49ers, who also were on the wrong end of an upset yesterday in Cleveland. The reason that they should be feeling nervous. We've got that for you in just moments. Just getting started here. Lots of football to get to today. It is Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. Man, heated discussion in the break. Maggie and I arguing about whether the Raiders are actually a playoff team at 3-3. You have this giant pool of 3-3 teams in the NFL right now, and nobody seems to know what to make of any of them. Raiders, of course, beat the Patriots. I can't wait. If the Raiders were good, they have the Bears next week, and who knows, will be playing quarterback for the Bears. Raiders are 4-3. Let's start that wagon. Let's go.
No.
Come on.
The 3-3 teams in the AFC right now: Indianapolis, Houston, the Jets, the Raiders, Cincinnati Bengals. Those are just the 3-3 teams. Those are all the teams that if the playoffs started today would not be in. So you got definitely some interesting teams in that bunch, most notably Cincinnati, who won a very interesting game yesterday. Perloff and I were going head-to-head in that game against the Seattle Seahawks. You throw out the record books when the Bengals and the Seahawks get together, but that ended up being a really physical game, and also a game where, Geno Smith really left some throws on the field. He was under duress, it felt like, all game.
Yeah, he's got to get rid of the ball because a couple sacks just completely killed their chances of winning. I told you this after the game. I thought the Seahawks should have won the game. But Bengals still 3-3, and Joe Burrow looks great. Physically, he's back.
Yes, he's all the way back. I'm shocked.
And of course, you broke a cardinal rule, the Maggie and Perloff show, and I was laughing at you afterwards. I was thinking, why would Maggie bet against Joe Burrow? Why would you do it? Why do you do it?
I keep doing it. It's one of the 10 commandments on this show. There's actually 2 commandments on this show. Thou shalt not bet against Joe Burrow. Thou shalt not bet it on the Atlanta Falcons, or just anywhere near the Falcons, who could be making a change at quarterback. We were talking about some big upsets from yesterday. Perloff's Eagles get upset by EJ's Jets, but also my Bills nearly got upset by the Giants, and it took until literally the last play of the game, an untimed down, and the Bills escape with a win against the Giants. But the San Francisco 49ers, another team that was upset yesterday. Brock Purdy no longer has the unbeaten streak on regular season games. They go on the road to face a ferocious Cleveland Browns defense, and here's where I think the 49er fan might be a little concerned. If Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel are injured for any significant amount of time, and they both were hurt yesterday, this offense starts to look very pedestrian. Brandon Ayuk is great. He has a connection with Brock Purdy, no doubt. They can run the ball, but it does not have that same, wow, this team is going to beat me from anywhere, because Kittle had to spend a lot of yesterday blocking, quite frankly, and was not the offensive weapon that he was a week ago.
So everyone is saying this about the Niners, but let me ask you a question. Before the rain started coming down, was there any concern about the Niners offense at all?
Yes.
Oh my God! The first drive,
the Browns were great.
The first drive, they just came down, stormed down.
Okay, but that's the scripted plays. Then, Kyle Shanahan is amazing at those.
Then I think it was the third drive, stormed down the field. Purdy to Ayuk, Purdy to whoever that small guy who was backing up Deebo, and then the rain starts coming down. Purdy's unstoppable. He's totally on fire. Goes to pass the ball. Pouring rain, just drops out of his hand.
Yeah.
That was a function of the rain. If it was dry out, Purdy would have been fine. Okay. And they don't need McCaffrey to run the ball. There's 9 guys who come in and run the ball. So Deebo is big. They really missed him yesterday. But they can play without Christian McCaffrey. Anybody can come. I've never heard of the guy who came in and ran the touchdown.
Mason, whatever, yeah.
So honestly, I think that was 100% a function of the rain. I know that sounds like a total excuse.
Absolutely.
But it was pouring. Purdy could not hold, small little Purdy could not hold that ball in the rain. And you saw it on so many different plays where it came wobbly out of his hand, which it never does.
You just look at, okay, you want to blame the rain, that's fine. But the idea that San Francisco, if they don't have home field, could encounter some weather. They might encounter weather even if they do have home field in the playoffs. But yes, they go down, they march down and get the field goal. Get the touchdown. Missed field goal, punt, field goal,
that missed
punt,
field goal, yeah.
Interception, punt.
Those punts,
they get the touchdown, punt, miss field goal. This was not a banner day here for the 49ers.
He could not throw the ball. The ball was sopping wet.
P.J. Walker was able to make completions.
P.J. Walker missed so many passes, too. I think that's mainly...
I thought he actually played pretty well. He didn't turn the ball over.
But he was completely inaccurate. If he was actually accurate...
he did have two interceptions, but they were brutal.
If he was accurate, they would have scored 30 points. Both quarterbacks could not really grip the football. So I'm not reading anything into that game. Of course, I picked the total on that game, and
You had the over, right?
Yeah, it was actually... So here's the question about our bets.
Yes.
The
it was
over,
36.5.
Right, so the final total was 36.
Yes,
I bet on draft. No. The total, like right before the game, they moved it down to 36. Actually, not right before the game. On Friday, they moved it down to 36. So do I get a push?
No, because the bet is made at the time that you say your pick. That's when you lock in the number.
Okay.
Listen, I went 1-2 this week. I was terrible betting this week. You went 2-1.
You realize you make this rule that could come back to burn you.
I've always thought this was the rule. I've been operating like this is the rule.
It has been.
Yes. Thank you.
Wait. It has been, Pete, you've been with the show 2 weeks.
Oh, it has been in general.
Yeah, it's always the moment you make the bet.
But what if
that's when you lock
so
it
we
in.
do it Friday?
Yes.
Okay. All right, fine.
I've always done it this way.
Karma is tough, Maggie. We'll see.
What do I care? I cannot win a bet. Andrew Bogish is here with some headlines for us. Hey, Bogish.
Good morning, everybody. Those headlines are sponsored by Progressive Insurance. Insurance for motorcycles, boats, and RVs for protection on the road and on the water. See how much you can save at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and progressive.com.
Don't be a freaking weirdo.
Maggie, it must be nice to play that badly and have a national radio host say this morning that you played amazingly. The Jets didn't have Sauce Gardner or DJ Reed, and Jalen Hurts still threw a career-high tying 3 picks, 2 coming in the fourth quarter, the last one leading to the losing touchdown. But thank goodness they have head coach Nick Sirianni.
Well, like anything, we're going to go back and we're going to look at why the turnovers happen and do our best to eliminate them.
Oh, so they're going to fix them. Lesser coaches would have told their teams to keep being -4 in turnover margin. The Eagles' perfect season ending with a 2014 stunner at the Jets. This is their first win in 13 tries against Philly.
Wait, Bogish, who's your team? Are you a Jets fan?
Oh, no, I'm a Giants fan, so things are going really well for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Deserved to win that game last night, but they were not going to give you 2. They gave you the pass interference, defensive holding, whatever, and put you on the 1-yard line. You were not getting a second one of those.
Yeah, no, touchdowns like earlier in the game would have been far more helpful.
Yeah.
The Niners, as you were just discussing, laying their own dud and taking their first loss of the season as well, 19-17 in Cleveland when rookie kicker Jake Moody missed a 41-yard field goal with 6 seconds left. And yes, Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel left that one with injuries. Then there are those Bills flirting with an ugly loss, but they survived the Giants 14-9 on Sunday Night Football. Those 14 Buffalo points didn't come until the fourth quarter, the game ending with a Tyrod Taylor incompletion on an untimed down from the Bills' 1-yard line. Some teams did win impressively yesterday, like the Lions.
There's the shotgun snap. Goff back, looking, throwing deep downfield. Wants Jameson inside the 10. Jameson makes the catch. Yes! Touchdown, Detroit Lions. Yes! That's what I'm talking about. That's what I'm talking about, number 9.
Dan Miller, Lions Radio. Jared Goff throwing for 353 yards and 2 scores in a 26 victory in Tampa. That's 4 in a row now for Dan Campbell's team. The head coach most impressed by allowing just those 6 points on the road.
Listen, I can't say enough about our defensive performance today. And really, really for 5 games this year, to be honest with you.
The Lions did lose running back David Montgomery to a rib injury in the second quarter. Jimmy Garoppolo hurt his back, missed the second half of the Raiders' 21-17 home win over the Patriots.
Did he go to the hospital, did they say?
I saw a report that he had left in an ambulance. Yeah. But I never got confirmation of that. Not necessarily mean that the lights were on. They were rushing him to the hospital, but he went to the hospital for testing.
I thought that was a little strange considering he walked off the field. But anyway.
Right. And Justin Fields dealing with a reported right thumb issue, got hurt in the Bears' 19-13 home loss to the Vikings. The Texas Rangers still perfect this postseason, 6-0 after starting the LCS with a 2-0 victory in Houston. Jordan Montgomery allowed 5 hits and a walk, struck out 6 over 6 1/3.
I mean, if it doesn't raise your game in the playoffs, I don't think you're doing it right. Obviously, I'm super excited to take the ball tonight, and anytime I can give my team a chance to win, I'm going to do my best.
A quick philosophical question about baseball.
Yeah.
The philosophy question, if a tree falls in the wood, will anyone hear it?
Yeah.
If the Rangers play the Diamondbacks in the World Series, will anyone see it?
Oh.
I will, because it wouldn't involve the Phillies or the Braves. So sign me up for that.
Do you think? Do you think a Virginia Tech Thursday night football game would outrate any game of the World Series?
I mean, it might, no matter what. Whether it's
I think you need the Astros, and it'd be better for the Phillies. But
ratings, schmatings.
I mean, it is funny. The Rangers and the Diamondbacks is not a lot of MLB history and lore of that matchup.
No, definitely not. I just like to see, now I have to be rooting against Verlander,
Yeah. I feel like
although it's not his fault that the Mets traded him away, and it's not all about the Mets, but
I think a lot of people need the Astros to root against. The Rangers are more neutral.
Villains.
Yeah.
But for me, for a Mets fan, I'm more worried about rooting against Scherzer than Verlander. I mean,
I'm looking forward to both.
Yeah, it's just the problem is they're playing each other now. I mean, and then what I can't have happen is then the Phillies get in the mix, and it's like, all right, now I got to root for Scherzer to beat the Phillies. Like, this is a nightmare.
Talk about philosophical quandary. I mean, that's the real one.
And Scherzer really should have the biggest target. Verlander kind of didn't do anything wrong.
I thought they should have kept him.
Yeah, Scherzer sucked.
Yeah.
And then ran his mouth when he left. Like, nobody needs him to pitch well.
I know this because Maggie was complaining about Scherzer consistently all season long.
Of course I was. I mean, I got eyes, don't I?
Yeah, your hunch was, I don't like this dude.
Well, he threw a no-hitter against the Mets in the Mets stadium. And that's weird when then the person then joins your team. It's like, I rooted against you so strongly.
That was the last time he pitched well at Citi Field. Trust me.
Ain't that the truth?
Game 2 of that series is 4:37 Eastern today. Then Arizona begins that NLCS at 8 Eastern. Washington's up to number 5 in the AP college football poll. They're taking Saturday's thriller from Oregon. It's the Huskies' best ranking in 6 years. No sweep.
How about that game? Sorry, Bogusch, I didn't mean to interrupt you. That game of the year. Right?
So far, yeah, that was amazing.
So far, Perloff's like,
I mean, it was a good game. Honestly, I came a little bit, Washington and Oregon, they should both be aspiring to get a title.
Yeah.
Did you see, did those two defenses look like they could handle a Final Four? They looked like a Big 12 game.
No, but this was like a quarterback showcase.
Yeah, but I think a quarterback helped because once a guy caught a ball, nobody could tackle him on either side.
Yeah, it was a little surprising. I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's okay. I was also laughing all day yesterday coming off that game, which I did enjoy, Oregon-Washington, and then Fox telling me that Ohio State, Penn State next weekend is the most anticipated game of the season.
Yeah.
Oregon-Washington wasn't even the day dead yet, and we're already moving on to
honestly, I think Oregon-Colorado and USC-Colorado are the most anticipated games anyway.
And that's fine. It's not Ohio State, Penn State. I didn't even know that game was next weekend until the program was running, telling me it was the most anticipated game of the season.
The Final Four committee, the winner of that game might as well pack their bags. They're going to the Final Four. They love the Big Ten.
The Liberty took down the Aces yesterday, 87-73, forcing a Game 4 of the WNBA Finals Wednesday night here in New York. Jonquel Jones, 27 points, 8 rebounds, 3 assists, and 3 blocks yesterday. Hockey last night, Ottawa down Tampa Bay 5-2. Brady Tkachuk with his second 2-goal game in as many nights. And apparently the IOC just approved flag football for the 2028 Olympics in LA.
For kids or for everybody?
I mean, I think only adults play the Olympics.
Is there kids Olympics?
Yeah, Global Guts back in the 90s on the logo.
I did love Guts.
I don't know. I see all these NFL commercials for flag football. I don't see any adults running around with flags.
No, but Tyreek Hill last week was basically making a team in anticipation of this. He wants to go win a gold medal.
Oh, I love it. That's great. Okay.
Wait, but is this just another like Olympic sport that's sort of designed so that the U.S. can get more gold medals?
I do think when you're hosting, you're allowed to present certain sports that are from your area that are only like temporary additions. My guess is this is one of them. I think lacrosse is getting in for the first time too. I don't know if any of them are actually permanent.
I mean, lacrosse.
Well, breakdancing next year, 2024. If you guys watch any stories on that, that's happening and that's spectacular.
I mean, at least breakdancing, you would think the whole world has a shot.
I feel like Germany's going to be weirdly good at breakdancing.
Germany of all
It's going to be a lot of robot moves, but Germany, watch them, Maggie.
I was not thinking about Germany would be really good at this, but sure. I don't like when we do these sports just to try to, goose our medal count here from the U.S.
I kind of feel like the U.S. in terms of football, like I feel like the rest of the world probably has a better chance at competing against us in flag football than real football.
Definitely.
Well, definitely. But it's going to take them a couple cycles to even sort of get it in their DNA and
That's pretty deep analysis there, EJ.
No, think about it. Like the other countries probably don't have the beef up front to really battle in the trenches. So,
you think?
No, but I mean, we've seen England and Germany. We see how the soccer athletes they have. I feel like flag football, they'll have guys that can run.
Yeah.
Jamaica could probably be pretty good.
Yeah.
In some ways, this is probably evening the field a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, we never play actual football, but the guys that keep coming here in the NFL's international program are always linemen. We're not sending German quarterbacks here. It's always a guy who's a blocker.
Well, kickers and punters.
Yeah, kickers are awesome.
Australian punters.
Oh, yeah. Definitely a lot of kickers. So if it comes down to a field goal contest, we might lose the gold. Are there field goals in flag football? I don't even know.
Are there? No.
No, definitely not.
I've never seen anyone over 12 play flag football, so I don't know how this is going to work.
Honestly, let's make it kids. Like, is that wrong? To put that?
Nickelodeon can present this particular event at the Olympics.
Yeah.
Be on
a little slime time.
We have a SpongeBob, presentation of it and everything.
Oh man, my 4-year-old just got into SpongeBob. Thankfully, finally, a cartoon we can watch together. Oh, I only had to wait 4 years. Is that it?
Yeah, but then it fades into things you don't want to watch, like their first live action shows, like Bunked and
those are tough sometimes.
Yeah,
with
the
Disney
real
shows.
humans, the Disney shows.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure it's as bad as
one.
Saved by the Bell and Step by Step. It's just corny.
No, hoping to get to those ones, but you got to kill a lot of time before that.
Oh no.
Yeah,
I'm a huge Octonauts fan. That being said, I don't know.
That show is amazing.
Octonauts is particularly so adults can learn something about aquatic life.
Yeah, I love that. I watched the show by myself.
Oh, me too.
Kids, yeah.
Wait till you get. I mean, I would say the powerhouse of those shows is Paw Patrol, and the fact that the science of Paw Patrol, a guy is going down a mountain at 100 miles per hour, and somehow they have 2.5 hours to save.
Paw Patrol might be one of the worst shows ever made.
Oh, you've already done Paw Patrol.
We've already done. My kid doesn't like it. Thank God. I'm like, finally, my kid actually has some taste. Paw Patrol sucks.
He's definitely influenced by his mother.
Double, come on, Paw Patrol.
Yeah, it's like, we got all these things going on. Let's call some dogs. And they're not even.
It always works, doesn't it, Maggie?
I mean, listen, the mayor's best friend is a chicken. What do you expect?
I know, and the other mayor is just like
the bad guy from Monopoly. Yeah.
I wasn't sure if it was that or Trump. I wasn't sure what they were trying to do. But Paw Patrol, it's just, blah. I can't do it. Adventure Bay?
Very cynical.
Boo.
Adventure Bay has it going on.
Oh, man. 855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. I see on the call screener, Jay wants to talk about my vocabulary. That's going to have to wait until after the break.
Yeah.
Did I say something wrong?
He also said, how did Colorado lose? And I tell you right now, none of us can answer that question.
Because none of us were awake. 855-212-4CBS. Get to your phone calls. Take a run at my vocabulary next. Thank you, Andrew Bogish. We're back in a moment, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
You can stream the NFL on Westwood One for free, sponsored by AutoZone. All season long, you can listen to every Westwood One broadcast of the NFL live on the NFL app by asking Alexa to open Westwood One Sports or on the Odyssey app. Get in the zone, AutoZone. The free AutoZone Fix Finder service can help you find a fix for free. Get in the zone, AutoZone. Restrictions apply. I want to apologize in advance, by the way, to all the Jets fans on my Twitter timeline who are upset that I am not acting like the 3-3 Jets just won the Super Bowl because they got lucky to beat the Eagles last night.
Let them have their moment. They beat the Eagles. You guys were undefeated. The Jets' improbable upset. Can't you just let the Jets fans have something nice?
See, that's insulting the Jets. This is not this is a team with aspirations. But this is not their moment. They're a good team.
Let's get to the phones. Mike is in Boise, is a Jets fan who's upset with Perloff. Good morning, Mike.
Hey, good morning, everybody. I've been listening to the radio station for a long time here in Boise. I think everybody at the studio does an incredible job. Back when it was Maggie and Moose, Taz and Moose,
wow.
EA show. Don't feel like there's been too much of a drop-off as far as the change goes, so kudos to everybody there. But yeah, no, I do have a bit of a problem with Perloff. Though. It feels like every time they've I think the last 3 weeks since you guys took over. It started off with the Chiefs game. Feels like there was a little bit of an issue where didn't see the game as close as everybody else thought it was. Thought it should have been a blowout as far as your perspective. And then I think the following week the Chiefs played the Broncos, and you're like, the Broncos kept it close. It was a pretty good game. Not nearly as close as the Jets game, I feel. And then as I anticipated, I definitely thought you would kind of discredit the win that the Jets got, and it kind of feels that way a little bit.
Not giving the Jets their flowers.
That's certainly how it feels, Maggie. And
well, Mike, listen.
I got no. Yeah. I'm gonna hang up. I just got one more question.
Yeah.
I'm gonna hang up and I'll listen. So Perloff, I'm just wondering, do you fall asleep with the clown makeup on, or do you get up early in the morning and put it on? But yeah, no, I'm going to hang up, and Mike, I want to hear the answer.
Thank you very much. You made the point.
Mike should just ask his mom.
Oh.
Gosh.
There it is.
Take the guy out of Philly. You're not taking the Philly out of the guy.
By the way, that Broncos game was, that wasn't that. It was 19-8. That wasn't that big of a blowout. The Broncos Chiefs. So I'm not sure. I'm not sure exactly what he's saying. That I discredit.
No, the fact that you credited the Broncos for keeping it close with the Chiefs, but you never credited the Jets for keeping it close with the Chiefs, I think is what he's saying.
Oh, well, yeah, I would give them credit for that. That's an accomplishment, I guess. Well, I don't know. By the way, I'm happy to wear clown makeup. Like, what was I wrong about? Is this Jets win? Like, what does this mean? You're a Jets fan, EJ. Like, is this indicative of the Jets are about to go on a roll? No. I mean, they're a flawed team. Zach Wilson got sacked all the time last night. And even if Aaron Rodgers is in there with that offensive line, is that going to work? Like, where are they going?
I mean, I think I enjoy the personal bragging rights I have that I can now talk to you and talk to our boss Spike and say, hey, how about them Jets? I think beyond that, it's hard for me to really
it's very
figure
short-lived.
out what this really means. I mean, the fact that they won without their two best corners, two guys that are Pro Bowl caliber, was very encouraging. But to me, I watch these games, whether it be the Chiefs game, whether it be this game, and think, wow, if like they had Aaron Rodgers healthy, those aspirations, like you mentioned, would be Super Bowl potentially. Like that was actually a real thing, I realized. But, we do things half-assed, so we don't go and get a real offensive line.
Yeah.
We don't, instead of paying for offensive linemen, we're paying Alan Lazard, who's getting 15-yard penalties for crackback blocks that they outlawed 10 years ago, it feels like. It's like this is kind of how this team works. They work backwards.
It's so true. I was thinking this watching that game, two things. Wow, like what would the Jets be with Rodgers? That would have been an unbelievable team. And also, wow, there's no way Rodgers would have stayed healthy throughout this season. I don't know if it would have been a torn Achilles, but it was only going to be a matter of time before he got hurt because that offensive line is just not good enough. Jay is in Nashville. Good morning, Jay.
Man, Perloff, as far as those Jets fans, I remember last week y'all was talking about loser energy. That's all you're dealing with right now. So don't even like that. And then on top of that, you should have told that last caller, like, look, your mom is the lovely artist that put this makeup on. And she takes it off at night too, buddy.
Jay, I feel terrible. I shouldn't
hit him with the your mom joke.
Jay, I shouldn't have said that. I feel bad. I'm going to feel bad all morning. I didn't.
No, you don't.
No, you're not.
No, you don't. You don't feel bad, bro. As a matter of fact, y'all need to give me like an address. I can send y'all some T-shirts with mom jokes on them so you can wear them on air. It could be the dopest thing ever.
Well, we loved your mom's My Cardio.
Jay,
I almost bought that.
Do you make those T-shirts or you buy them somewhere?
No, I see they're all, I don't know how I get them, but they're online. I mean, there's other ones. There's other ones, man, that it's like, dude, like somebody might punch you in the face if you're walking down the street wearing it. You know what I mean? But they're a little bit too personal. But as far as the vocabulary.
Yeah,
you know how y'all have like shot of the day? Y'all should have like the vocabulary word of the day because I think I heard you say a philosophical quandary. That sounds like a freaky purple drink at a party or something. Everybody, you know what I mean?
It's half hypnotic with a little bit of club soda and Hennessy.
There you go.
Yeah.
And you put a drop of Super Freak in it.
Oh, yeah. The purple Q.
Yeah.
We all know that.
There you go.
Light it on fire like a flaming Moe.
There you go. And as far as, man, I got to tell you, man, I fell asleep on that Colorado game. I went to sleep like, okay, everything's right in the world. And then I woke up probably like 3, 4 o'clock the next morning and like, wait a minute, is this a joke? And like, I don't know what kind of like pick me up Stanford took at halftime or whatever. Or I don't know what kind of speech they got. But
no, Jay, Deion said, now this might be after the fact. Jay, thank you for the call. We'll think about the vocabulary word of the day. He said he saw it happening, like that they started to get complacent. But you weren't the only person who fell asleep. Deion Sanders got the SNL treatment, spoofed by Kenan Thompson on Weekend Update. And here is Kenan Thompson as Deion Sanders.
But it's not perfect. I mean, just last night, you lost to Stanford in double overtime.
Wasn't that crazy? Man, we were up 29-0 after half.
Yeah.
So I went home and fell asleep. I woke up this morning shocked as anyone. But come on, man, nobody's perfect. Name one team that's undefeated.
Okay, well there's Georgia.
Right.
Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
Ohio State.
That's another one.
Florida State.
Forgot about them.
Oklahoma.
Sure.
Penn State.
Indeed.
Washington.
Good team.
North Carolina.
Tar Heels.
Air Force.
And see, that's exactly my point.
Tar Heels. That's my favorite line.
So good. We've got more Deion, both real and the Kenan Thompson version, coming to you in just a little bit. Also, got a major shakeup. Speaking of college football, major shakeup. More reaction also from yesterday's games. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
can put away a large pizza by herself. He's allergic to cheese. They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
Welcome to the show. Lots to get to, including what was can a game be thrilling if it was really terribly played? It came down to the last play last night between the Bills and the Giants. It was not a particularly well-played game, but I guess it counts as a thriller because the Giants had a moment and had a chance at the 1-yard line, an untimed down, and Buffalo escapes with a win. Can't feel great about it, even though it is a win, because the Buffalo offense, again, looks completely out of sync. Credit to the Giants. They were playing undermanned and with a backup quarterback even, and really made the Bills sweat this out.
Yeah, it feels like the Bills didn't get up for this because Tyrod Taylor was on the other side of the game, and the whole game felt like there was a haze around it. Like it was foggy in Buffalo or something. Because that was home. They should have won that one much more easily.
They were the biggest point spread of the entire season so far. It was like 14. I think it got up to even 14 and a half at one point, and the Bills came out and almost laid a big egg.
So there was also an ambulance on the field again in Buffalo. True. I mean, it does feel like, Damian Harris. And I guess he has, it was a neck injury. He has movement in his arms and legs, thank God. But it does feel like that kind of took them out of their game a little bit too because of what happened last year. I mean, you can't help but think, oh man, this team's been through so much.
Yeah, I mean, I think that would be a little bit of an excuse. Listen, if that throws you off your game, you can understand it. But the Bills' offense was terrible even before that. You know, I think part of the fact is they weren't giving it to Damian Harris enough. They weren't using the run game where they have James Cook and Damian Harris and Latavius Murray. And instead, the Bills really capitalize off of a really big mental mistake from Tyrod Taylor, the veteran, at the end of the first half, where points were at an absolute premium in this game. The final score is 14-9. Premium. They have the ball with the ability to run one play basically at the goal line. It has to be a pass play, though. It has to be a pass play. I believe it was about 10 or 12 seconds left in the half with no timeouts. And instead, Tyrod Taylor audibles to a run play to Saquon Barkley. He gets stuffed at the 1-yard line, and then they couldn't get themselves set again to run another play.
Yeah, and then afterwards, Brian Daboll chewed out Tyrod Taylor. It turned out to be on camera.
Yep.
You had an issue with that.
I did. I thought that showing up a veteran like that, I mean, Taylor, listen, he's going to take the blame. Why he checked to a run play is a mystery. Why there was even like a check possible here is a mystery. You know you have to pass the ball. You have no timeouts. You could have probably run at least 2 plays if you had just thrown the ball.
But you said afterwards you thought they should have ran the ball on the untimed play at the end of the game, possibly.
I thought that they had the Bills a little bit back on their heels.
Right.
When it was the end of the first half, the Bills were clearly loading up for Saquon Barkley because he was so good on that drive.
But he was good on the final drive, too. I think that it's tough because if you really think the look is there, then maybe you should go to a run play. I think with Tyrod Taylor, quarterback, you could argue that's their best play and go for the touchdown, be aggressive. At least put the option in. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
If Saquon had scored, I think people would have been like, oh, that was the right call.
Yeah, right. Like, hey, veteran savvy move, audibling out of the
ironically,
pass. I know. See, and that's another reason why I just don't love Daboll. It feels like once a weekend, every game they play, he is just chewing somebody out on the sideline. And listen, when it's a young player like an Evan Neal or last year going back when he chewed out Daniel Jones earlier in the year, I think fans, you can understand that these young guys have to learn. Showing up a veteran like that in that moment, that can be done behind. You can just get to the tunnel, and that could happen in the tunnel. I thought that was a bad look. So
it's better to scream at a young player and kill his confidence early in his career than an older player? I would think you could argue the opposite, that chewing out young guys on the sideline is not good for their confidence and doesn't really work the way you want it to.
Well, it depends. I guess that's on the coach. They've got to know their player. Are they a guy who gets motivated by a pat on the back, or is there someone who gets motivated by getting chewed out by the coach? And you would think that Brian Daboll would have a pulse on that. It just feels like it is now every single game. He's over there just absolutely screaming at a guy when I think for Tyrod Taylor, he's earned the respect, right? He's been a solid backup quarterback in this league for a long time. He was the Bills starter and broke their long playoff drought as quarterback. I think that doing that behind closed doors is something he's earned in this league.
Well, I got to tell you, though, the guys he's coached with, Nick Saban at 71, I thought if he had had a gun, he would have shot one of his special teams guys. No, that's an overstatement, but he was so mad. Bill Belichick, I mean, threw his tablet down at the end of the game. He's yelled at guys before. I think this level of coach, there are a lot of yellers, and if you win, nobody seems to mind. So I think the fact that Daboll lost makes it look worse.
Yeah, probably.
Nobody minds when Saban chews out someone.
Well, but Saban's also coaching college kids. I feel like, I don't know if that's better or worse. I remember like Coach K is like laid into guys like, wow, that is not what you would expect.
Yeah, but Brian Kelly getting up in guys' face, everybody hates that.
I know, and I think it is a bad look. It's just a little bit different, I think. I guess we have a little different standard for the college. Maybe that's not true. I just think of professional football. That's what it is. You're pros. You can criticize guys. Just to do it in that open forum, you also leave yourself open to people thinking this is a bit of eyewash. I don't know if that's true with Daboll. He seemed totally incensed. But does it look like you're basically putting the blame on your quarterback because you've aired him out so publicly in that sense? You're basically pointing a finger at your quarterback.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
There's no way to argue about that. Brian Daboll does seem to have a tendency to find other people to blame. Kind of like a little bit of little man syndrome there. I noticed he was yelling at Evan Neal. I'm like, oh my gosh, he's half the size of this guy. He is fiery. I think last year it was perceived as good and fiery and when they were winning. So this year, because they're losing, it's perceived as bad. I heard it in the break room, by the way, that Sean Marash used to be on the show.
Yes.
If they fire Daboll midseason, he officially has to quit. Have you heard that about that?
He has to quit his job at the Fan?
Yes, and he signed
They're not going to fire Daboll.
Oh, okay. Are you positive?
In year 2? Why would they do that?
Oh, it's the Giants. I don't know. Because Ben McAdoo, they fired in the same exact situation.
Yeah, that is true. But McAdoo had lost the locker room. I don't think Daboll has lost the locker room.
What are they, 1-5? It could go bad for Daboll, though. Do you think if they end up with 3 or 4 wins that the Giants ownership could get itchy again? They seem like they're churning through coaches.
It has become a revolving door. EJ has an update on this, yes?
Yeah, so now the bet is that if it's Daboll and Shane that get fired, that Marash, who used to be Mraz here, would have to then leave WFAN.
I mean, that's a BS bet. There's no way they're firing the coach and the general manager.
I agree. I think he kind of like, if you would have kept it to Daboll, that would have been a little interesting. I think adding Joe Shane in there.
Listen, maybe the Giants get to go full circle here and add the coach that they've always wanted, which is Bill Belichick. Because now Belichick is probably going to be available. The problem is that you're getting the facsimile of Belichick. You're not really getting the full Belichick.
I don't think anyone's going to want Bill Belichick. Because how long does it take Bill Belichick to get his players in there and build his culture? And Bill Belichick has not been a great GM. Is Bill Belichick going to fix this Giants team? There's not enough talent there, is there?
Also, is he going to come in and he's going to play nice with Joe Shane? Like, he's going to, this whole time in New England, he's been able to pick out the groceries and make the meal, as Bill Parcells used to say. And now he's going to let Joe Shane pick the players, and Belichick's just going to execute the marching orders? I don't think so.
He's picked out some bad groceries lately. So maybe.
You really got to sniff the apples and squeeze the avocados.
I think Belichick could cede the personnel side to a GM. I honestly do, because he's got.
Wouldn't he handpick the guy like a Nick Caserio or one of those dudes?
But everyone who's not connected to Belichick, does Joe Shane have no connection to the Belichick chain?
I don't think so. Joe Shane came from Carolina.
Yeah, I'm sure.
And Miami before that, I believe.
At the end of the day, I bet you there's 6 degrees of separation from Bill Belichick. It feels like half the league came from that Saban Belichick tree.
That's what happens when you're in the league for 50 years. New rock bottom for Belichick. We'll get to that later on. Okay, so that's what was going on last night in Orchard Park, where the Bills escaped with a win against the Giants. On Saturday night, very, very interesting from the college ranks, Perloff, which is Caleb Williams essentially lost the Heisman on Saturday night. Notre Dame took it from him because Caleb Williams had an awful game, his worst as a college player. It has to be. Notre Dame's defense has guys who are going to be playing at the pro level. They made Caleb Williams extremely uncomfortable. 3 interceptions, all of them bad, and he basically lost the Heisman. Now, to be fair, to win a back-to-back, you have to basically be perfect.
Yeah, and nobody else has to be perfect. It's a very high bar. That's a great point. I'm glad you brought that up, because Caleb Williams probably wasn't going to win the Heisman anyway. The Heisman voters do not want to see a 2-time Heisman winner. He would have had to been perfect.
Heisman voters also rather lazy. So if no one else had really separated themselves, I think a lot of Heisman voters, forgive me, there's like thousands and thousands of them. I think some are casuals.
Totally. But the other problem is there's so many quarterbacks with nearly perfect stats out there right now. There's about 6 record-breaking quarterbacks. I mean, you could go down the list. Caleb Williams hasn't been any better. I'll defend Caleb Williams, too. This will probably make Mike and Boise mad. Caleb Williams was under so much pressure from Notre Dame. If you look at the 3 picks, every one of them, he got hit within moments after throwing that play. He has a little bit of Superman syndrome where, like Josh Allen, he thinks he could do anything on his own. And he thinks the only way we're going to beat Notre Dame is if I am absolutely doing everything for USC. So maybe this was a little bit of humility for him. But honestly, is there any quarterback that was going to win that game for USC? Do you put this on Caleb Williams? I felt like the Notre Dame just destroyed them in the trenches.
Again, really high bar for a guy we're calling generational, the terms we use for like John Elway and Andrew Luck and, Trevor Lawrence or whatever.
John Elway never made a bowl game. Andrew Luck never really achieved anything in college. Those guys lost plenty of games.
All right, sorry. So give me a couple other generational talents. Peyton Manning, I don't know.
No, I'm just saying.
I said Trevor Lawrence. He won the national title.
Yeah, he did. But Peyton Manning, classic. Like they never achieved. They lost a ton of games. They shouldn't have
getting
lost.
Caught up in the semantics.
No,
generational talent. That's what he's supposed to be.
Right. That doesn't mean so. You're not a generational talent because you lose a football game.
That's true.
That's what I'm saying. Like Peyton Manning lost a bunch of football games in college. These guys are going to lose games. They're going to have off games. I mean,
but here's the thing that's different is I think Caleb Williams, who's the other great defense that he's played against? This was like the first time he's played, and maybe I'm forgetting one, but like that he played a defense that is more representative of what he could see at the NFL than what he's going to see in college. And it was bad. And you cannot blame the weather on this one. So I think not only did Caleb Williams lose the Heisman for himself, but he might have cracked the door open on the number 1 overall pick. Now he has plenty of time to get it back. We've got a season to get to. We've got a whole draft process to go through. But at some point there was maybe nowhere to go but down for Caleb Williams because he was on such a high. But he may have cracked the door open on that number 1 overall pick.
Not to me. I'm taking Caleb Williams every day. 100 days out of 100 days. Even in that game, he made some throws that were just unbelievable. The touchdown throw where he was sort of like a joystick. He came in and out, in and out. I don't think he cracked the door at all. I think NFL teams are pretty savvy. They'll easily throw out one game and say, because every quarterback has bad games. You're never going to see a perfect resume, and they know this. And not like anybody else in this competition has not had bad games.
That's true. Apparently, like half the NFL had scouts at this game, and I think there were 10 general managers or something at this game.
It's not like they haven't seen every game Caleb Williams plays. It doesn't matter who's at what game. I think that he's totally fine. Like, who's the competition? Drake May?
Drake May, I mean...
Drake May, he's looked good, but has he blown you away? His numbers aren't anywhere near Caleb Williams.
No, but I mean, if you're talking about two guys who were basically playing at the exact same time, Caleb Williams and Drake May Saturday night, both had bad first halves, and Drake May really did rebound to have a much better second half.
Well, Caleb had a much better second half, too. Okay. Honestly, it's not Caleb Williams' fault, the kickoff. They can't stop a kickoff. It's not Caleb Williams' fault there was a fumble 6. Like, a lot of it. The second half, there were some moments like, oh, okay, he's figured it out. He's going to bring them back. But then special teams and his guy fumbling cost him the game. So I did not come away from that game and say, ooh, Caleb Williams has no talent. He was making some throws that only he could make.
Definitely not. You can't say he has no talent. I'm asking if we definitely agree that he lost the Heisman Saturday night.
Well, probably.
I was going to say, I don't know about that.
His stats are insane right now.
Who are the other candidates that, like the quarterback from Washington State, they just got pummeled by Arizona.
What about Penix from Washington?
I mean, Penix, I think is right now in the pole position, but those guys can also have bad games.
Yeah. By the way, Caleb Williams plays Penix, so if USC just somehow houses him, then that changes it. I do think mid-October it's hard to tell with the Heisman race. There's a lot of change. Bo Nix is unbelievable. Penix unbelievable. Jayden Daniels unbelievable. J.J. McCarthy unbelievable.
Yeah.
But none of these, there's so much schedule left. I agree with you. The bar is going to be so high. You can't really afford a mix-up. But not many college teams go undefeated. You have to remember that.
Definitely. One
game is, not going to define everything. If USC can beat Washington and Oregon, then maybe he's back in.
I thought this was also interesting from the game on Saturday night. Now, The Athletic sent one of their Bears reporters. Obviously, the Bears could have the top 2 picks. Justin Fields now hurt his hand. I mean, if Justin Fields misses any game, he can't afford to miss any games, right? They're likely going to move on from him this offseason. So they sent a Bears reporter just to watch Caleb Williams and to see what he's like. This was part of what stood out to this Bears reporter for The Athletic. He said, what stood out to me before the game was that Caleb Williams, didn't break down his team, break down the huddle, despite 2 pregame opportunities. Instead, he stood to the outside of his teammates who were gathered together. He did his own thing. When the USC offense gathered as a group before taking the field for its possessions, Williams warmed up separately. He wasn't one of the captains at the coin toss. He was the last player out of the locker room when USC took the field before the game started. Now, to be fair, the writer does go on and say he celebrated with teammates after wins, after touchdowns, and stuff like that. Is that fair or unfair to be breaking down his pregame and basically saying he's standoffish from the group?
Yeah, it's not fair or unfair. It's stupid is what it is. Because any reporter or writer who thinks that he knows something about character, I mean, this is why people in the business hate reporters. Because you talk about quarterback's character and you are almost definitely wrong. They have no idea what Caleb Williams is like behind closed doors. The trainers do, the coaches do, the teammates do. But if you casually observe anecdotal things like that, you are so likely to make a mistake. We hear this every draft period. This guy's low character. This guy's not a team guy. You have zero idea. In fact, I would say, if anything, you are fooling yourself if you think that you can glean anything off that.
I agree with you. I think it can be unfair. However, the body language and what we see on the sidelines, it does play into a narrative at times that can become a problem for a team. I mean, just like at Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs, they keep having to come out and defend themselves about being fiery on the sideline. At some point, people are going to notice your body language, and it does become a thing.
Wait, who are the 2 quarterbacks you said?
I said Josh Allen and Stephon Diggs. They keep having to defend the fact that they have a good relationship. No one believes them because of what they see on the sideline, and it becomes a narrative that they have to answer questions for week after week.
But this idea that a college quarterback is standoffish and too big a star, I mean, I've heard it about many people before, and it usually does not pan out that way. Cam Newton certainly got that at Auburn when he was starting to get his Superman persona. And believe me, that was not true.
So what about Kyler Murray or someone like that who people think he's standoffish? He gets this is when he was healthy, obviously. He always got a bad reputation of being aloof.
But not at college.
Probably not at college, but at the pros. I'm saying if Caleb Williams were to do the same thing at the pro level, he might get criticized for.
He might. I think that this is really dangerous territory.
It could be. You're right.
I think, honestly, you're so prone to make a mistake unless you're really, really inside that team to assume what he is as a teammate. I mean, it could be. I mean, would you be surprised if his teammates say, "I just love this guy to death"?
Not at all. I would not be surprised.
We don't know. Yeah, Caleb Williams. If anything, Caleb Williams has a Todd Marinovich. His dad seems a little iffy. His dad is Mr. Manufacturer, number 1 overall pick guy, which is always scary to me. I don't know. I don't like it.
It's always scary to me a little when the parents say the goal is to be the number 1 overall pick. That shouldn't, listen, everyone's got their goals, and it's such an honor to be number 1 overall. You work hard for it. You should get rewarded for it. But, don't you kind of hope your kid has a long, successful career in the NFL? Didn't Tom Brady teach everybody anything? You don't have to be number 1 overall to be successful.
Oh, 100%. And you're pressuring your kids. I mean, it's worked with Caleb Williams. I think he is going to be number 1 overall, and he's amazing. I guess he's not breaking down the team, though. I think teams maybe will fall to 2. No, I'm just kidding. Of course, no. The NFL's not going to care about that. The NFL thinks they can get him in the building and coach him up to the way they want him. Anyway, they're going to see the talent. He's the closest thing to Mahomes I've seen in college. The way he can move around and make those throws. I understand he had 3 picks, but he's still spectacular. All those other quarterbacks are really, really good, but is there anyone special like Caleb Williams? And you even see it in this loss. He was avoiding tacklers and throwing it 100 yards down the field. He's very special. I have no concerns despite these negatives.
EJ, you thought this was a little bit, this was a fair take by the reporter.
I think the only reason why I kind of raise an eyebrow reading it is because I feel like with Caleb Williams, if there's anything we can say about him, because we don't know a lot about him personally, but there has been a little bit of he's kind of a Hollywood kind of guy linked to him. He apparently, before he's in the NFL, he wants ownership stake of any team he gets drafted by. Yeah. You had
good luck with all that.
Yeah, you had the dad saying, "Oh, well, maybe we won't go to the team that's number 1. Maybe we'll go back to school." And me being a selfish video gamer, he's like, "Hey, maybe I won't be in NCAA football next year if I decide to come back to football." There's been a lot of stuff that's beyond USC trying to win a championship with Caleb Williams that would seem to be a lot of the conversation. So when I hear, he also isn't really the vocal leader on the field, he's kind of to himself. It just makes me think. It doesn't make me jump to some crazy conclusion, but it does seem to kind of track with everything I've seen from Caleb Williams that's outside of football.
Can you blame him for not wanting to go to the Bears? I mean, I feel like that was lauded as like, hey, this dad really knows what he's talking about. Like, that's the one thing that could derail his career is what we think is going to be this great career is going to the Bears. That's where quarterback careers go to die.
That's a great point. By the way, also, if you're going to USC not going to win a title because of Caleb Williams, how about a defense that's led up over 40 points 3 games in a row? You see any championship defenses? I mean, it wasn't all the defense, but that defense there's no way they're going to win a title.
Oh, no, I think that they're frauds. I'm saying from Caleb Williams' perspective, like in terms of being the team guy, and I'm not saying he's not. It just feels like a lot of the conversation is about individual stuff. We talk about wanting to be number one pick. We talk about wanting ownership stake. We're talking about, whether or not he's getting enough money for NCAA college football video games. Like,
none of that's about a title.
Where are the things about trying to win a Pac-12, which they can still do, by the way? They lost a non-conference game.
Yeah, Caleb Williams hasn't said all that stuff. I think that's his group, right?
Whoever is saying it has to understand it's a salary cap violation, so it's never going to happen. You can't get ownership stake in the team. It's so silly.
And Eli, there's no more aw-shucks team first guy than Eli Manning, and he did the same thing. It's not like Eli was some big Hollywood persona.
I think that was Archie who was pulling some strings.
Yeah, that was Archie. I think Caleb Williams' dad might be a bit of a problem, but I just think it's really dangerous when a reporter says something like that, because then you're setting up the stigma that Caleb Williams is not a team guy when you really don't know.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Coming up, more fallout from yesterday in the NFL. What do some losses mean for players on the trade block? Get to that in just moments. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. 1 minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. So, to me, the Jets win over the Eagles makes them 3-3.
Yep.
And I think
upset.
Big upset. But to me, this says it's Zach Wilson for the rest of the year. This does not mean that they're going to trade anyone. They were going to go with Zach Wilson when they weren't winning. Now that they're winning, they think they can win a lot of games with this guy. They seem to like him. I think they're trying to prove that they made an okay draft pick. I think there's no chance they trade for anyone.
Okay, I don't think it's about Zach Wilson winning. I think that, and I know this sounds crazy, Rodgers showing up at the game, no crutches, no cast. It's been 32 days since he had his surgery on his Achilles, and he's already sniffing around the team. I think that's what's keeping them from really investigating, the Jets that is, investigating any like bigger quarterback upgrades.
Yeah.
Because Zach Wilson is still not good. Like they won yesterday. They beat the Eagles. They deserve all the positivity this morning. But even the most diehard Jets fan is not going to be like, and it was because of Zach Wilson. Like it was in spite of Zach Wilson. He's still not a good quarterback. But Rodgers is now not just looming. He's in the building now. And I think that's what's going to keep them from trading for a guy.
Okay. There's two things that kept the Jets alive last night. Their defense and the fact that Zach Wilson could move just enough. And not that much, just enough to keep the Eagles pass rush off him so they can move the ball once in a while. Aaron Rodgers would have gotten murdered last night on one leg.
Yep.
That would have been a huge problem. And Kirk Cousins is not great when he doesn't have a pocket. And the Jets don't provide a lot of pockets. So I don't even know why they would do that. Give up a second-round pick for Kirk Cousins, and he doesn't know the offense. He'll be a sitting duck. That is not a perfect marriage in any way to me.
No, the one thing I find kind of interesting, though, about Cousins is there was a report, and the Vikings win yesterday, a very nondescript sort of ho-hum win over the Bears, but it is a win. It was their first NFC North win. So kudos and credit for doing that without Justin Jefferson. But there was a report that Kirk Cousins will not waive his no-trade clause. And to me, I don't understand that. Whether it's to the Jets or somewhere else, like, why? If it's to a team that gives you a better shot to win and you're going to be a free agent at the end of the year anyway, like, why? Because he doesn't want to pull his kids out of school? So don't pull the kids out of school. Keep the kids in school and you go play quarterback in another city for a couple months. Guys do this all the time.
I don't know. If I'm Kirk Cousins and I watch the Sunday game against the Eagles, I'm not going to the Jets. Why would you want to go there? You're setting yourself up for terrible failure.
No, but just to say I'm not going to waive my no-trade clause, whether that's the Jets or someone else. Like, I don't know if the Falcons called. Like, I know they have a high-end backup with Taylor Heineke, but why wouldn't I give myself at least a shot if the team doesn't want me anymore and they're trying to go in the tank or something? Like, at least give myself a chance to make the playoffs.
I don't know. If I'm a quarterback, Atlanta, that's really where you want to go? That is a team that seems to score 18 points every game no matter what happens.
Well, maybe that's because Desmond Ridder is not very good.
Well, that's true. I think the adjustment to a new offense would be difficult. I don't think Kirk Cousins knows Arthur Smith, unless I'm missing something, knows Arthur Smith's offense, which is kind of particular. It just doesn't make sense to me. Maybe something will happen. And when he says, I'm not going to waive my no trade clause, he might just be positioning himself, saying, hey, don't just screw around here and offer me to anybody. I'm almost sure nothing's happening. And the Jets, I think you're exactly right. They think Rodgers is going to come back, and they don't want to bring any challengers to Rodgers.
I wonder when they're really circling, but this could be one of the biggest mistakes they make. Because what happens if you bring back Rodgers, and I know they don't want to play the what-if game like this, but you're right. He's 40 years old, or he'll be 40, coming off the Achilles. The offensive line isn't going to magically turn into, the 90s Cowboys overnight. And what if he gets hurt again and now puts the next season in jeopardy?
Oh, absolutely. I wouldn't bring him back at all, especially because even if he comes back, it's hard to imagine this being a real Super Bowl threat. 3-3. They're 3-3.
Well, this was a very tough part of their schedule. Can you hear from Robert Saleh, please, Pete? I love this from Saleh. This is cut number 8. Saleh was talking about the great defense for the Jets, and they are a very good defense, and the quarterbacks they've faced.
Thought defense, per the usual, outstanding. Through these first 6 weeks, we've played a gauntlet of quarterbacks, and I know we haven't gotten all wins, but we've embarrassed all of them. And just really, really proud of the defense and its resolve.
Embarrassed all of them. Look at Saleh feeling himself after this game.
I mean, this is the new world of Deion Sanders, where 3-3 equals 6-0.
Ridiculous comment.
Deion math. Well, okay, let's go through it. Did they embarrass Josh Allen? Yeah, they probably did. They definitely did. They've done that before, though, on Allen. They did not embarrass Dak Prescott. So I'm going to say that's 1-1. They played Mac Jones and lost 15-10. So I don't think they embarrassed Mac Jones.
You're kidding me? That's like Mac Jones' Super Bowl. That was the best game he's ever played.
They lost to the Chiefs, but many people thought that Zach Wilson actually outplayed Patrick Mahomes in that game. You can no longer count beating Russell Wilson as a signature quarterback moment. Okay. And then they beat Jalen Hurts yesterday.
So 4 out of 6 by my count.
You're counting Russell Wilson? You can't count Russell Wilson in this day and age.
If Russell Wilson leaves the field and his head coach yells at him for a mistake he made at the end of the game, then yes, you've embarrassed him.
And by the way, the Chiefs...
That's true. That did happen.
Did the Chiefs go up 17-0? You could literally see Patrick Mahomes take a nap on the sideline. They just gave up on that game altogether. And the Jets... This is what people are doing against the Jets. They're getting these gigantic leads and just assuming, you know what, we got this game won.
Not the
and
Eagles.
Just falling. Yeah, they were up 14-3, and I swear.
It's not gigantic.
Well, 14-3 against Zach Wilson is gigantic. And they started mailing in the play calling. You could see their effort went down. They were not inspired.
You say this somehow like it was a positive or something. Like, it was just their decision not to try anymore. It's
these
like,
great teams.
That sucks.
I mean, you saw the Chiefs do it against the Lions in week 1. Like, sometimes teams...
Well, the Chiefs
have
are
a lead
undermanned in week 1. They know Kelsey. They know Chris Jones.
But they had a huge lead. Sometimes teams with a lead take their foot off the pedal, and they need to be aggressive to be at their best. I think that's the way football always is. I know it's not ideal, but it doesn't mean that all of a sudden the Eagles are in huge trouble because they fell asleep at the wheel here.
I just love this like, they were messing around theory. Like, they could have won by 50, but they were like, you know what, let's keep this one close.
I thought the Niners did the same thing too, by the way. They could have been aggressive in the first quarter and jumped out to it. Before the rain came, they could have had a huge lead, but they started being conservative in their play calling. So like, we're going to get P.J. Walker and the Browns. Before the rain came, they were dominating that game, and they just did not get the lead they needed.
Were they dominating?
Yeah, they were tearing them apart.
They scored the touchdown off the scripted plays that first drive, which Shanahan's great at. Then they did a missed field goal, then a punt, then a field goal, then a punt, then it was the end of the half. Where was the dominance there? I'm sorry, I didn't see it.
I felt like Purdy was doing whatever he wanted in the first quarter.
Oh, see, and I watched a lot of that game, and he missed a lot of throws.
I thought Purdy was pedestrian.
Well, yeah, but that, like the McCaffrey throw, but that was a free play. And like that drive, I felt like they were going to score. And then the rain started coming down, and he couldn't even get the ball out of his hand.
Yeah, I did not think he played in particular as well as you did. I thought he looked like the fear of Brock Purdy, of what he can't be.
In the first quarter? Before that ball slipped out of his hand, like what, did he have many incompletions?
I mean, he had many for the entire day.
Right. But I'm saying before the rain came, the Niners offense looked really good.
Yeah, but here's the thing. They play football outside. And P.J. Walker wasn't slipping out of his hand. He wasn't as accurate. He's also the third string quarterback where Purdy was in the MVP conversation a week ago.
I think that's ridiculous to evaluate quarterbacks in the driving rain because it doesn't indicate what they're going to do the following week when it's dry. I mean, clearly the Niners are not a wet weather team.
Yeah, but they're going to be playing against the Eagles. They're going to be playing against teams potentially where there's going to be weather situations.
Also,
so
yeah, they're probably not going to win.
Yeah, that should scare you.
And how long did it rain in this game yesterday? It didn't rain from the second quarter to the end of the game.
They had a real problem with the water in the second quarter.
The second quarter.
Yeah,
the second half, they could do nothing. He was making bad throws. And they got not bailed out because it was a legitimate call. But, I mean, that last drive, driving for the field goal, is dead before pass interference.
I just think the Niners, I would not. First of all, they went and got a great defense in the rain. If that's the game you're judging them on with 100,000 flags. I mean, the Browns' defense is great. We all agree on that.
The Browns' defense is very good.
And they still basically won the game. They just missed a field goal at the end.
I think without McCaffrey and without Deebo Samuel, it looked more pedestrian. Even if Purdy and Ayuk have good chemistry, I mean, you're not used to the 49ers going 3 for 12 on third down. That's the whole thing about Purdy, right? Doesn't make mistakes, always is able to execute the play. Not yesterday. Yesterday.
A wet game in Cleveland, and that really is reason to think the sky is falling in San Francisco?
No, not sky's falling, but if McCaffrey and Deebo have to miss any real time.
I think Deebo's going to be okay, right? I don't know if you have an update on that.
There's nothing on anybody yet.
McCaffrey's just a matter of time. You say it all the time.
I know.
You're only going to get so much Christian McCaffrey in the season.
And I mean, he was unprecedented health for him last year, and I think was the major reason why they went as far as they did, and the defense. Yes, 25 penalties combined yesterday in the Browns-49ers game.
I think they had a graphic that said it was the most penalties and the most penalty yardage in a game this year.
It was just ugly. By the way,
I hope so.
McCaffrey was out by the end. He didn't stay healthy. He was not on the field for most of that Eagles game.
NFC Championship game.
Yeah, and the divisional game too. So don't count on him. Other guys can run the ball. Deebo, that is who they missed yesterday. I couldn't believe that. Sorry, I digress.
Bogish, what else you got?
I didn't even start yet. Headlines are sponsored by Northern Tool and Equipment. Get the tools you need from the brands you trust. Start solving your projects today at northerntool.com. We're made for this. The Giants finding new ways to lose. Last night's 14-9 defeat in Buffalo on Sunday Night Football was the first time in the Super Bowl era that the losing team had more passing yards, more rushing yards, fewer fumbles, fewer INTs, and fewer missed field goals on the other side. Big Blue had the ball on the Bills' 1 yard line at the end of the second quarter, the end of the fourth quarter, didn't score either time. Here's head coach Brian Daboll.
We got it down there 4 times and we didn't put it in. So that's really the difference in the game was the ability to punch it in the red zone.
But the Giants didn't allow a point until the fourth quarter, so they led 6-0, then again 9-7, but Josh Allen's second fourth quarter TD pass with 3:48 ended up being the difference. The Bills surviving 14-9 to improve to 4-2. This game included a long delay in the second quarter when Bills running back Damian Harris suffered a neck injury, left the field in an ambulance. Here's his head coach, Sean McDermott.
It's not a good thing to have to go through. But fortunate that he's seemingly heading in a good direction with the reports that we're getting. So I'm just very thankful to God for that.
And I know everything is okay with Damar Hamlin, but it was kind of shocking to see the ambulance doors close and see the Hamlin 3 in the windows. I understand kind of why that's there, but I mean, as serious as that was just, I don't know, it just seemed like a weird place to honor him.
Yeah, it's like branding.
Right.
Yeah.
I thought it was a tough call to show him on the sideline, too. I don't know if the director should have done that because he was visibly upset.
Yeah. I can understand why. I mean,
he's
there
I
in
understand
street
why.
clothes. He's not playing in the game.
It was once and it was quick, right?
Yeah.
He had his head in his
hands. And I totally understand. I'm not blaming the TV broadcast, but I felt a little bad for Damar Hamlin. That is a moment maybe he deserved privacy. Yeah, he looked really shaken.
Of course. I mean, he's watching this play out. What was crazy to me about the hit on Harris is it didn't look like it was brutal, you know?
Nope. Yeah. And he kept going. I still don't know what hurt him. The hit did, but he fought through the tackle and then got pushed backwards. It was
honestly,
odd.
Of all the big hits yesterday, the biggest one and the scariest one to me happened in the Titans-Ravens game. That kid Moore, the wide receiver for the Titans, right?
Yeah, what he landed on his helmet?
Oh my gosh. And then he's getting up, he's holding his arm up like somebody help me, and was woozy and holding his head. I'm like, that guy can't possibly be getting on a flight later today, right? For what we know about concussions.
Who knows? I mean, Josh Allen had 3 last night and they kept playing. What about the guy who fumbled the punt for the Titans and nobody would sit next to him? That was not good. Kyle Phillips. Oh, man, that was a tough game.
So the Bills almost lost. The Eagles and Niners did lose, but the Dolphins are 5-1 after running away from the Panthers 42-21. Miami spotted Carolina the first 14 points of that game. Tyreek Hill, 6 catches, 163 yards and a touchdown. Raheem Mostert, 142 scrimmage yards and 3 scores. The Texans have their third win of the season, 2013 over the Saints. They had 3 all of last season. Here's rookie head coach D'Amico Ryans.
Our team has continued to improve, continue to get better, but it was very important for us, right, to finish with a win this week before heading to our bye week. Just go in just with a better feeling. You can enjoy your bye week a little bit better off of a win.
C.J. Stroud, a pair of touchdown throws yesterday. One last game here in Week 6, Cowboys-Chargers in L.A., 5:15 Pacific. There's also an LCS doubleheader later today. Game 2 in Houston at 4:30 Eastern. Game 1 not in Arizona at 8. The Rangers striking first in that AL series last night.
The pitch is on the way. And Taveras hits it deep to right field. Back goes Tucker. He turns, he looks, and that ball is history. Wow. There's the first postseason home run for Leody Taveras. It gives the Rangers a 2-0 lead.
Did that guy get hit by a firework or something? It looked like someone just set it off in the booth.
That's from Rangers Radio. The other Texas offense, a Jonah Heim RBI single, while Jordan Montgomery twirled 6 in the third scoreless. Their Rangers win 2-0. They're now 6 for 6 this postseason. We got our first look at Damian Lillard and Giannis as teammates last night. 30 combined points in a 108-97 preseason win for their Bucks at the Lakers, who were resting LeBron. And yesterday was the final day of the NWSL regular season. The San Diego Wave beat Racing Louisville 2-0 to clinch the best record in the league. They get a bye into the semifinals. Their postseason begins on Friday night. Guys, back to you.
Andrew Bogusch, thank you so much. We get to your phone calls in just a moment, plus the piece of sound that you have to hear from yesterday. It's a must listen. We get to it next. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining.
All right, here we go. This is Maggie Gray with a CBS Sports Minute. This is Maggie.
2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining.
Now you're gonna have to accept it. Did I meet your mom too soon? Or did I do what I always do? Yeah, we made it to the 50, and then you kissed me. We made it to the 40, a new love story. We made it to the 30, and you did me dirty right then. You put the end in tight end, and as I touched down, now you're gonna have to.
Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Today's Monday Night Preview is sponsored by FanDuel Sportsbook. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the NFL. The LA Chargers play host to Dak Prescott and the Dallas Cowboys. Dallas a slight 1.5-point favorite in LA as they look to rebound off a loss to the 49ers. Meanwhile, the Chargers have won 2 in a row and try to move their record over the 500 mark tonight. We'll get into our picks for that a little bit later in the show.
Oh, it's going to be so wonderful to see the coaching mistake in the last 2 minutes of that game. Is it Saleh? Is it McCarthy? Is it both?
I mean, the coaching hasn't really been standout, let alone college, which is like pretty easy to spot, you know, with the Mario Cristobal's of the world and stuff from last week. Sorry, EJ. But
yeah, time management's been tough.
Really tough. I mean, you got coaches making mistakes left and right. Let's go to George. He's in Los Angeles. Wants to talk about what he saw yesterday in the Rams game. Good morning, George. How are you?
Hey, good morning, guys. I really enjoy your show.
Oh,
boy, you're talking about the tale of two halves. 5 yards rushing first half. The Rams looked terrible. Second half, they just put the metal to the pedal. Ran 10 straight times to start the second half. Tyree Williams has a career day. Most rushing yards since 1996 in the second half of the Rams. This team, when they're on, they're on. I mean, they got 19 rookies, but they're still a very strong team. They're 3-3. But I think next year they're going to be something else.
George, thank you for the phone call. Yes.
A little complaint though. I mean, Aaron Donald, Josh Dobbs has a family. Can you just can you just give quarterbacks a break? Aren't you old yet? What is the deal with that guy? I mean, he is a force of nature.
Well, also Cooper Kupp, 7 catches for 130 yards, basically. Nakua has had to take a little bit of a backseat. Only 4 catches for him yesterday, Bob.
Williams, I told my fantasy partner, my fantasy football partner, that is early in the season, that Kyron Williams is a superstar. He is so tough. And that Rams, again, never draft a running back because you can find them anywhere. He's really good.
Pittsburgh Steelers coming up next for the Rams, though. So we'll see what goes on. And then at Dallas, at Green Bay, home for Seattle. It's going to be an interesting stretch here. It feels like the Rams season could kind of go either way with this next upcoming 4 games. Okay, I had to hear this sound from last night. So the Giants playing the Buffalo Bills. The Giants were a massive underdog. And one of the reasons they were a massive underdog is because they've had all these crazy injuries along the offensive line, Perloff. So they had to call upon an old friend, a former number 1 overall pick for them, Justin Pugh, who had since been in Arizona. He had to come back and play offensive line for them. He ended up playing tackle for them last night. And when they did the introductions for Sunday Night Football on NBC, here's how he introduced himself.
Justin Pugh, straight off the couch.
Straight off the couch. He could have said anything there. Syracuse University is where he went to college. I'm sure whatever high school he went to.
You got to do your high school. Why would you do your college? And if you're going to do your college, you have to say like the U or something. You can't just go Andrew Perloff, Clemson. Like you got to say something creative to stand out, right? If you what would you do, Maggie, if you were on that?
Well, I can't say college because my college didn't have any football. I would say Townie Maggie, Binghamton, New York.
Ooh, they might take an exception if you give yourself a nickname. You're not allowed to do that, are you?
I think you can. No?
Maybe.
I would say Maggie Gray, Binghamton High School.
Yeah, definitely. What would you guys do over there?
I would probably do something fun. I'd do like Gotham City High or maybe like Midtown High, the school that Spider-Man went to. I would play with something with the comic book stuff.
EJ, your commitment to this comic book stuff is really amazing.
Love it.
I know what Perloff would say. I'm sorry, Pete, what would you say?
I do Bayside High.
Bayside High. Sounds like Saved by the Bell.
Yeah.
No, I have to do Lower Merion, my claim to fame in life.
Yeah. But I think you would say Lower Merion and...
But no, I thought about that. I've been thinking about it. I would not have to say former high school of Kobe Bryant because everyone knows that. Like anyone in LA, you hear Lower Merion, you know. So it's implied, right?
So you would say Andrew Perloff, Lower Merion High School, you know.
I like that. They might edit out the you know.
I love straight off the couch because that's just like all of us after you're watching 14 hours of football. It's like I am also straight off the couch and right into the kitchen.
I bet some people would actually think Perloff is making it up, that Lower Merion, because I think they would say, oh, there's no way the Philly guy went to the same high school as Kobe Bryant.
I know, but me, Perloff, for the first 15 seconds, you're going to find out.
Oh, stop. Yeah, it's like somebody who went to Harvard. Yeah.
Yeah, so he went to college in Boston.
I have no problem. You're absolutely right. It is a flaw, but I will still continue to do it because it is the coolest thing about me. But so you're a Miami fan.
No, but Perloff he's also shaded me because no famous athletes have come from my high school. He's like, you guys have nobody? It's like,
no, you have King Rice.
Yeah, well, King Rice. And he goes, that's all you have is King Rice? I'm like,
we have Joe Torre and Vince Lombardi at my high school.
I mean, good for you.
Whoa. Where'd you go to high school?
St. Francis Prep in Queens, baby. Fresh Meadows.
That made sense to like 4 people who are listening. But yes, Joe Torre and Vince Lombardi, fantastic. But you can't shade my high school because King Rice is the best athlete to come out of it.
I mean, I don't know
we didn't do anything wrong.
I don't know how long your high school has been around, but King Rice even make the NBA? 100 years? Now, okay, the Jones brothers are from your town.
Yeah, all the John Jones, Arthur Jones, and Chandler Jones from my town, but a different high school. And Daquan Jones, I don't think he's related, went to a different high school than them. He plays for the Bills.
Dable's not from Binghamton, though.
He's from Buffalo.
Oh, he's from Buffalo. Hey, EJ, you are a Miami fan. If you went to the University of Miami, you have to say the U.
You have to say the U.
Does anyone say? And if you went to the Ohio State, you have to emphasize the, right?
Of course,
those are the rules.
Definitely. I think anything beyond those two, you're probably doing the high school.
I actually get offended when there are former Miami players who don't say the U.
Yeah, I was wondering, are there any players who say Miami?
Well, no. What they'll do is I've seen a couple guys do like the funny thing. They'll say, tight end U or the School of Hard Knocks, and I'm like, no, like we're one of the schools that people are actually proud to be a part of. I know maybe not 2 weeks ago when Mario Cristobal didn't know how to win a football game, but typically the U is a cool place. So I get annoyed when the guys don't rep the U.
I mean, you got to do it just for recruiting of your college, right? It's like, doesn't that help?
Definitely.
How about the dude yesterday for the Bears, the backup, Tyson
Badgett.
Badgett from
Shepherd
University, a place Perloff and I were guaranteed was made up.
Yeah. Tough start for him, but he showed out a little bit.
He looked okay until he threw the pick.
I mean,
Don't they all?
Well, I think his first play was a fumble for a touchdown against the Vikings.
Was that the first play? Maybe I wasn't watching that closely.
Yeah.
But then he put together a nice little drive.
But he's famous, right? His dad is the world champion arm wrestler. There's a lot going on with Tyson Badgett.
Yeah.
That being said, the Bears are not going to win any football games.
No, not with him playing. Maybe not with Fields playing. I don't know if it matters. This could be all part of their strategy. Anyway, Justin Pugh, straight off the couch. Played pretty well in the second half, not the first. All right, coming up, we got more Deion for you, and we've got more on quarterbacks at a crossroads.
Did I meet your mom too soon?
You're in a 5-minute break. 4 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
She once fell off a ski lift. He was called in for questioning. They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
2 massive upsets yesterday, 1 near upset last night. Hey, welcome to the show. Maggie Gray, Andrew Perloff, and there are no more unbeaten teams in the NFL. There's still a winless team. Carolina Panthers still have not won a game yet, but as far as teams that are undefeated, no longer. San Francisco loses to the Browns yesterday in Cleveland. Perloff's Philadelphia Eagles fall to EJ's New York Jets.
It's amazing, too, because the Panthers don't even have their own draft pick, and they seem like the team that's tanking.
I know. Well, they got out to a 14-point lead yesterday against Miami, and not only was that game never in doubt, the fact that Miami covered a massive spread was also never in doubt. They turned it on, complete with a Tyreek Hill backflip in the end zone that he took somebody's camera for and did a selfie backflip.
Yeah, how are the Eagles going to cover that guy? Does anyone have any ideas? And is he going to win the MVP? I am very nervous.
Luckily, as you said yesterday, is a wake-up call for your Eagles after they lost to the Jets. So wake up and smell the Dolphins, who you're going to face next.
Yeah, I feel like everyone's a little mad at me that I'm not taking that Eagles loss more seriously or the Niners loss. Nobody's going 17-0. You lose football games, and everyone's acting like the sky is falling in San Francisco or Philly. It's not.
It's not about the sky is falling. It's how did it look? And I think for the Eagles, still more red zone issues. I think they went 2 for 3 yesterday, which is one of the better showings, even though the Jets defense is really good, really good. I think it doesn't look as easy as it did for Philadelphia last year. And even you yourself said, at times it feels like Jalen Hurts is either being complacent or just kind of taking it for granted that they're going to win the game, because he had a chance yesterday to win the game with under 2 minutes at a timeout, and he could not get a first down.
Yeah, but Hurts is sliding a lot more this year, which to me says he's protecting himself, and he's not going to do that in the playoffs. So I think they're going to be better in that sense. They never got to the brotherly shove on, which is weird. The whole game, I mean, listen, you're up 14-3, you're up 14-12, you have a field goal from 37 yards with one of the best kickers in the league to go up 17-12. 17-12 against the Jets is like being up by 21 against another team. They were destroying Zach Wilson. All they have to do is kick that chippy and it's done. I don't
know. I mean, that's how good and opportunistic the Jets defense is, because it's never really done.
So they made the kicker miss a 37-yard field goal?
No, not that. But you can never count out the Jets defense, because they ended up making a big play on an interception on Jalen Hurts that gets almost returned for a touchdown that Breece Hall then runs in for a touchdown.
But he never would have been
later.
If the game was 5 points, he never would have been throwing in that position. Probably shouldn't have been throwing in that position anyway. They were at midfield. The win probability was close to 99% at that point. It was a fluky loss.
Well, win probability, I mean, that basically was invented just so they can show that graph that's win probability and then have it plummet all the way to the bottom. I don't know.
I mean, what are the odds? Out of 100, what are the odds that Jalen Hurts throws basically a pick six up at the end of a game with 2 minutes left?
Well, that's the thing.
At midfield, when they could have just run the ball anyway.
Well, I think that's why people are mad that you're not giving the Jets their due, which is because the Jets have made good quarterbacks look bad. And they did it again yesterday. It's not just that last play, although I was expecting a little bit more from Hurts on the last play, but the last drive rather. But they've done this now. Like, they have to get their due. The crazy thing about the Jets is if it's anybody but Zach Wilson, instead of being 3-3, they're probably 5-1.
Yeah,
probably 3-3. I don't know. First of all, I think they might have won that week 1 game because it was Zach Wilson. Because the Bills saw Aaron Rodgers go out of the game and exhaled and be like, I don't think it's as certain as that they would be. Last night, their offense did not. I don't think it's so certain that Rodgers would have won. And don't tell me their defense did anything there. If the Eagles had just called run plays at the end of the game instead of keep on throwing, that pick six was so dumb. I mean, why was he throwing the ball there? EJ himself tweeted out the only way the Jets are going to score is if the defense makes a play.
Well, the reason why they couldn't run the ball is because the Eagles had 80 rushing yards the entire game. I don't think they couldn't run the ball.
No, but they should just kill clock and make Zach Wilson go 90 yards to beat you. It's never going to happen.
I think it was tough to pick up first downs, quite frankly.
They didn't need one. They had the game won. You didn't need a first down. They were basically at midfield, just punt, and the game is over. But instead, they throw against the grain, 20 yards downfield into triple coverage. It was bizarre.
There you go. So that was one of the major upsets from yesterday. Can we hear a little from Jalen Hurts? Jalen Hurts on cut number 5, please, Pete. The player's message and what his message was to the team.
Yeah, it's just a matter of how we respond. You know, that is the number one focus point. and that takes great preparation, intensity, mental focus.
Wait, sorry, EJ. Tell us again what happened.
So just to be clear, Sirianni and Perrin did not address the team after the loss. So it essentially kind of became a players-only meeting kind of after this loss.
Got it.
So you had, I believe it was Hurts, A.J. Brown, and someone else had spoken. Kelsey actually mentioned kind of why they ended up doing it this way.
Oh, let's hear from Kelsey. Cut 7, please. Kelsey did explain that Sirianni didn't talk to the team.
I think, whenever you lose, you want to take accountability and ownership. And, I think we all know that wasn't, the standard that we hold ourselves to. And, I think that, whenever you lose or you win or, emotions are high, people are gonna talk. So I think, I don't know that it's that unique. I think that, that's kind of how it goes when, you're trying to motivate your teammates or, get things corrected.
All right, you can try to dress that up. I mean, that's crazy because why wouldn't the coach talk to the team after a loss?
Love it. Players only meeting. I'm a huge players only meeting guy. Things are going south. Players only meeting.
Yeah, but right after the game, the players only meeting's like for Wednesday or something. Right after the game, the coach would have definitely talked to them if they won. That kind of feels like, all right, you lose and now the coach wants to go and hide.
I don't think he was hiding. I think he was letting Jalen Hurts be the leader. And also, Nick Sirianni is stone cold crazy. We all know that.
Yeah, rock, paper, scissors over Zoom.
Watch him for 5 minutes. That is nothing. Watch him on the sidelines. He's the most outspoken, sort of charismatic sideline coach you've ever seen. I think he was letting his leaders, A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts, are two pretty good leaders, really take hold of this because that was 100% on the Eagles. Like, that's not like
okay,
that loss is not a loss they should have.
Okay, but here's the thing, right? This is just where if they had won, he wouldn't have just let Jalen Hurts and A.J. Brown take the lead there, right? Because if you win, then the coach, and I've seen Sirianni here and all these coaches right in the middle, right there, handing out game balls and being, right in front of the cameras.
So you think that was shirking responsibility? You don't think he had a purpose by doing that?
I think it's kind of odd, but again, Sirianni's a weird bird.
Yeah, I think it was. Listen, this is the players have to do this themselves. And I do think they needed sort of smelling salts on the season. They haven't had great games. They've been a lot of low scoring ball control games. This game started out with a 19-play touchdown drive, which didn't look like a touchdown drive. We came back from commercial.
It was a touchdown.
Like, how often do you have a 19-play drive?
These 19, 17-play drives, they're crazy to me.
And the Eagles thought that, we're in total control of this game. You can't get 19 plays unless you really have control of the game.
Not to harp on it, but, I do think, I know Sirianni's weird. It is odd. Because when you hit adversity, the team is supposed to, yes, look to the leaders on the team, but don't you look to the coach for leadership and you look around in the locker room after a bad loss and he's not there? That's weird.
And I thought, to me, on a different note, I don't know, we can talk about team loss or whatever, but the defense at the end of the day didn't give up a touchdown until they literally had to give up a touchdown. And I don't know, do I want to hear from Jalen Hurts after you threw away the game? Probably not. I'm a defender on the
Jalen Hurts did everything last night. They wouldn't even be in the game. I'm a defender on
the Eagles, and I basically had Zach Wilson only getting field goals, and we've been him under siege the whole game. And then all you need to do, whether it be Hurts not turning the ball over, or even Sirianni not calling a pass play,
right.
I don't want to hear about looking in the mirror and accountability, which is apparently, according to the reports in Philly, was what Hurts and A.J. Brown were talking about. I don't know. A.J. Brown played great. I don't know what he had to really say about accountability. But it seems like the wrong messenger.
I'm sure Jalen Hurts, and I don't care if it's defense or offense, a quarterback is the leader. I'm sure Jalen Hurts came in front of that team and said, this is all on me. Jalen Hurts. He's the perfect personality. He's kind of boring, but he definitely said, this is my fault. This isn't your guys. I'm going to be better. He didn't say you guys have to be accountable.
No. He can still do that, though, and the coach can still be there. Anyway, we'll see what that means moving forward. Again, the other thing about the players-only meeting is you don't call that meeting before you play the Dolphins. You call the player, anyone who calls a players-only meeting, you call it before you play the Carolina Panthers.
You want to win.
Yeah, then it always looks like the meeting worked. It's like, we met and we just blew the doors off of this other team. You call the players-only meeting and then we maybe lose the next week.
Yeah. Here's the reality for both the Niners. An out-of-conference road loss is not what we're talking about here.
Not the worst.
The number one seed is going to be determined by how you play at home. And you guys brought up, Detroit is honing in on that number one seed too as well, and they don't play anybody. So if you're going to throw away a game, do it in this situation. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, the one thing for the 49ers, you do worry about the health of McCaffrey, the health of Deebo Samuel. You were worried about that anyway, even before they got hurt against Cleveland. But Cleveland with a big victory yesterday with a third-string quarterback taking down a team, not just that you beat the 49ers. I mean, the 49ers, I think we had agreed, was the best team in the NFL going into this game. So that's a massive, massive win. Jim Schwartz is a scary defensive coordinator.
Okay.
I think he is.
Okay, do this. Let's see them in dry weather against that Niners. I think, listen, the over-under on that game was 36 points because it was pouring. And that rain did come down pretty hard.
They had a third-string quarterback playing for the Browns.
Yeah, I still think the Niners, and at the end of the game, I know they got that penalty, but they could move the ball when they needed to. They just sort of took their foot off the gas as well. And by the way, P.J. Walker, as great as he was, they are in position to kick the game-winning field goal, throws the ball into triple coverage for the Niners and almost lost the game as well.
I know. He got away with one there.
He was a total adventure. And I love P.J. Walker, Temple guy. But that was a wild, wild, ugly game. I'm not sure I can take anything away from it.
I take away that without two of their big weapons, I thought the offense looked pedestrian. And maybe that's to be expected. But
it is against a good defense, but in the weather. Is that how you're going to judge them, though?
Well, they might have to end up playing in some bad weather when it comes to the playoffs. You never know. Now, if Detroit keeps playing how they're playing, then the NFC Championship game will likely be in a dome.
Remember, they beat the Packers in the snowy Lambeau Field. So that defense can win in bad weather. And the defense did still look good. It wasn't like the Browns were moving at will.
All right, well, I'll play a little game here about quarterbacks at crossroads, different crossroads. EJ's going to throw out a quarterback. Perloff and I will tell you what their next step is going to be. Like, where do they go from here? EJ, you have the mic.
Okay, so let's start with Chicago's quarterback who was not playing in the game after getting injured with his thumb. Justin Fields, what is his situation like?
Justin Fields will now be competing for a starting position somewhere else. It's going to be one of those training camp competitions that he might win against like a rookie quarterback or something. This is going to look just like Mitchell Trubisky when he went to the Pittsburgh Steelers. The team is bad enough that Justin Fields has not shown enough that he can be the franchise quarterback. And now that he's hurt, they have all the excuse in the world to move away from him. It's going to be hard for him to save his job anyway, Perloff. So now he's going to be in the role of competing for the starting job in training camp.
It's possible that he's in Chicago competing for that job as well. Who knows? I think that Jerry Jones is going to be mad he traded for Trey Lance because he would have loved to give a fourth-round pick up for Justin Fields. The other team that likes sort of glitzy players, I feel like Justin Fields is going to be a Raider. I don't know. If the Raiders don't get high enough to get their quarterback that they want, and Jimmy G is obviously always injured, maybe that's a home.
Who's next?
So let's go to Minnesota, a guy we've been talking about a lot this morning. Kirk Cousins, what's his situation?
Jay in Nashville, who called before and is in our chat, youtube.com/CBS Sports Radio with the Weedos and the coffee drinkers, said, mark his words, Cousins will be in Dallas. I do not think it's going to be Dallas because I think Cousins, Dak, same. What's the real difference?
Spider-Man meme for sure.
Yeah, come on. So I might disagree with Jay on that one. I think that Cousins ultimately ends up in one of the NFC South teams if they decide not to go quarterback, like Tampa or...
you can't go from Baker Mayfield to Kirk Cousins.
Oh, watch them, Perloff. Just watch them do that.
I guess Atlanta would make some sense, too.
But Atlanta should be going after a young quarterback. They might be a little too good.
I was wondering if Cousins can get back with Shanahan. Now, let's see what happens with Brock Purdy for a full season. Can he stay healthy? And if Purdy, he had a bad game. If Purdy, for some reason, struggles, then maybe Shanahan.
Purdy? Not the MVP. I've been told Purdy, the MVP of the league.
Well, I'm not even saying he was. If Cousins is a backup anywhere, say he isn't starting, like the first place he'd be a backup is San Francisco. So the other one is Mike McDaniel, of course, is a Shanahan clone. If Tua's health isn't 100%, maybe they invest, let's go with Tua Cousins. So high-end backup or NFC South starter. That's perfect.
All right, who's next, EJ?
All right, let's go to Tennessee, guy who left the game as well last week, Ryan Tannehill.
I'll take that one.
Go ahead.
That is definitely a Jets backup in the Joe Flacco mode, if I've ever seen one.
I didn't think of that.
This is Joe Flacco late career all over again.
I think that Tannehill he obviously has started his last game as the franchise quarterback. If he does make another start, it will be as a backup called in on spot duty.
Yeah.
But this has got to be it. You hate to kick a guy while he's down. He got carted off the field in London, but this is it. And now the Titans have a real interesting moment on their hands.
How so?
I thought they should have been tanking from Jump Street.
Well, now they don't. It doesn't. They're Malik Willis and Will Levis for the quarterbacks. It's not whether you're intentionally tanking or not tanking. You're not going to win any games.
And now, do you trade Derrick Henry? And that would be the wave of the white flag and trade DeAndre Hopkins.
I mean, Jeffrey Simmons just signed, so I don't know if he's big money, but he's their best player. So, yeah, that would be very interesting. I would wave that white flag.
That's the roster you got to be rating here if you're a different GM or making phone calls at least. Okay.
Let's head down to the A. Desmond Ridder. What's going on with him?
Good night and good luck.
Good experiment. Didn't work.
It's over. Maybe he's a backup somewhere.
Oh, he's definitely a backup somewhere.
Here's the question for the Falcons. Do you go with Taylor Heineke or do you try to go with the tank? The problem is they're 3-3 in the NFC South. Like, you're not going to be bad enough to tank. So I guess Heineke time.
I mean, that is a team that's built around their run game. I know they have Drake London and Kyle Pitts, but they should be running the ball anyway, no matter who the quarterback is. Feels like it's Heineke time. I don't think they need to trade for Kirk Cousins, by the way. I can't picture Kirk Cousins immediately doing anything for them. So just try and run the ball, sneak into the playoffs, draft somebody at 15. Nah, Ridder is definitely good enough to be a backup, though. Or maybe they even keep him there as a backup. We've seen that situation before.
I believe Heineke signed for 2 seasons, though, right? They already have the high-end backup. I think. I'd have to double-check that.
But I think Ridder's still under a cheap contract as a young player.
Well, but Ridder, done in Atlanta.
Okay, what about New Orleans? He threw for 300 yards last night or yesterday, but Derek Carr, what's his situation like?
Hell if I know. The dude can complete passes in the first half, can't complete a pass in the second half. We call Derek Carr the Bermuda Triangle around here because every time you talk about him, your boat gets shipwrecked.
I mean, I think he's still kind of hurt, but this is disappointing because that defense is really good. The Saints are throwing away a great chance at the playoffs here. Carr does not look good. I feel like it's similar to the Raiders situation where they have this guy and he's just good enough to keep holding on, but you're not really going where you want to go. We talked about the contract over the weekend, and they're stuck with him. So just try and make it work. That defense is still so good under Dennis Allen. I have a problem with the head coach, too. So next year, I might try another head coach.
Try a different head coach, although I think Dennis Allen was one of the big reasons why Derek Carr is even on the team.
Yeah, right? but there's Devontae Adams went to the Raiders to be with Derek Carr. Things change quickly. Relationships only go so far back.
But the bottom line is he's going to continue to be the quarterback. I mean, they'll keep doing the Taysom Hill thing, but he'll continue to be the quarterback, and they will continue to be mediocre.
Good luck, New Orleans. Okay, let's go to Las Vegas. Jimmy G, who got injured yesterday.
Jimmy G injured, off to the hospital, allegedly, after the game, or reportedly, not allegedly. Here's a question. Did I miss this? Why did they go to Hoyer and not Aiden O'Connell?
Aiden O'Connell, I don't think it was even active. I was actually Googling that, and there was no quick answer. We need our friend Stu Kovacs, former producer. I have no idea why
when in the one start O'Connell played, I mean, McDaniels kind of ripped him in the post game. He might have just been kind of done with the O'Donnell experiment.
I know, that's just crazy though, because listen, Hoyer, they end up getting the win yesterday over the Patriots, so he was good enough, I guess.
You know, he looked a little spicy there. I thought Brian Hoyer, I've seen him play worse.
What a compliment. Jimmy G, this was always going to be a 1-year sort of Band-Aid kind of thing. I think he will be a backup next year, and they will draft somebody this year. I still believe Devontae Adams is going to ask for a trade at some point this season.
Yeah, it's funny about the Raiders. They go to the Bears this week, and if the Bears don't have Justin Fields, who has a thumb injury, I think they could go to 4-3. And then if you're 4-3, aren't you trying sort of gravitating toward the playoffs?
Oh, I think the Raiders have like a very favorable schedule coming up. It's not just the Bears. Then, Detroit, that's going to be tough. Then the New York Giants, then the New York Jets. There's a couple W's here potentially.
Oh my God, those games, no teams reaching 20 in either of those games. I'll tell you that right now.
Okay, last one we got here is Russell Wilson. What's the situation like?
Oh, man.
It's unlimited is what it is.
Yes, spicy and unlimited. It's limited. It's
very limited.
Very limited. It's going to be limited to the rest of this season, and I'm not even sure he's actually going to finish out this season as the starter.
Limited.
Whether it's actually his fault or not, I think they make a change at some point because this is Sean Payton's ego is now coaching this team. It's not even Sean Payton. It's just the ego. So he will make a change just for the hell of it. And they will unload him next year, I think, with draft picks and try to make a fancy package to get him out of there.
Nobody's trading for Russell Wilson. Why would anybody?
Watch somebody.
Somebody's going to take him on for $40 million or whatever it is?
No, the Broncos are going to have to eat a lot of the money.
But you can't eat salary cap, though. If you take on Russell, I don't know how this works, but is it going to take up a chunk of your salary cap if you trade for him?
But if you have a rookie quarterback, it could sort of balance out. It's going to be painful short-term hit here, but you can't have Russ backing up a rookie quarterback. That's not the natural order of things.
What could happen as well is the Broncos say, look, we're going to bring in a quarterback. You're either going to be a $40 million backup, or you can take less money. We can send you someplace where they want to start you, and I think he would take that.
I don't think there's a trade. I think they have to cut him and take the pain in one lump.
It's massive, though. The dead cap hit on this is insane. It's like $60 million or something.
Yeah, post June 1, can't they get down to $40 million next year?
A little bit, but still, that's still a lot if you're trying to build a team to win. Now, again, with a rookie quarterback, it makes it easier.
There's no trade happening. What is the team that would take Russell Wilson right now?
I will bet you that he is on do you want to bet he's on a different team next year?
No, I bet you there is no trade. That is my bet.
You think
that's
just
a great
get
bet?
Cut? I think he eventually does get traded.
Okay, that's I think even odds.
Okay.
Mr. Unlimited.
We'll get the terms of the bet in the break because I'm not driving to Denver.
Although, let's not have a capologist on here because only so much salary cap the audience can handle.
And you and I can handle. Meanwhile, I said we won't be driving to Denver. Looks like Perloff could be driving somewhere. We'll get to that in just a moment.
Looking at my roots already, Maggie, that bet is lost.
Where is Perloff going to be road tripping to after he loses what looks like an eventual bet? We'll get to that in just a moment. Also, what was the most interesting quarterback in the NFL doing yesterday? We'll tell you next. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 2 minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
All right, Maggie, people are still yelling at me because I'm not giving the New York Jets their flowers. Oh, my gosh. It's one game, people. The overreactions today to the Niners loss, the Eagles loss, and your Bills almost lost. It's not even a loss. Is out of control. This is a parity league. Even the good teams are going to drop a game occasionally. The Eagles are 5-1, and I'm supposed to think the sky is falling?
No, but you are supposed to, you got to be a good winner, but you also have to be a good loser.
Yeah, I'm a good loser. I don't even care.
No, when your team loses, when they were a touchdown favorite, basically, you've got to credit the other team, and you're not doing that.
I'm crediting the defense is really good, but the Eagles lost that game. The Jets just happened to be there when they lost it. Is that not giving them enough credit?
It's not. Let's get to Aaron Rodgers, shall we?
What the is Aaron Rodgers up to today?
Last night, Aaron Rodgers shows up at the game. He was without crutches, looked like no cast. 32 days after he has surgery on his Achilles. And Perloff, not just that. And I don't know if I would have publicized this after the fact, considering that the Eagles scored how many points in that game? Or the Jets scored how many points in that game?
Jets offense, they scored
one touchdown.
One touchdown
overall
for the Jets offense.
Yeah, but that was from the 6-yard line, and the Eagles let them in, by the way.
Right. Well, apparently Aaron Rodgers was a quote-unquote active voice on the headset in the Jets win over your Philadelphia Eagles. But again,
I really hope he wasn't working on the red zone offense because it was pathetic.
I was going to say, I'd probably blame Hackett for this one and probably hang back a little bit. I think I was on the wrong channel. Everything was coming through in Spanish. It was weird.
I called a whole different play, and all of a sudden there's Hassan Reddick sacking Zach Wilson on the naked.
Yeah, I called 17 straight run plays for Breece Hall. I don't know what they were doing. That's Aaron Rodgers. So here's the thing now. You've got Rodgers. He's in the building. He's way ahead of schedule. Anyone can see that. Now, standing on the sidelines for a football game is not playing in the game. But with the Jets now 3-3, the idea that they're holding the fort for Rodgers to come back, it's at least like a glimmer of a flicker of a candle at the end of the tunnel.
But you have probably a limited Aaron Rodgers with a leaky offensive line. It sounds like kind of a dangerous situation to me.
It could be, but listen, Zach Wilson does make a couple good throws. He can run, there are some things that he does well. The problem is there's no chance that anyone in the Jets locker room has confidence that Zach Wilson could lead the team on a game-winning drive against a good team. Like, that's still not in place. Or, EJ, correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think that's still in place right now.
No, it's not in place. I mean, Robert Saleh said that he'd get a face tattoo if Zach Wilson led them to a Super Bowl. That was what he said to the Fox crew, apparently, for the game.
Wow. Way to stand for your guy. Anyway, it's like even a limited Rodgers would be better than what Zach Wilson is capable of.
They're 3-3 right now. The question is, if Rodgers wants to come back in December, do they still have to, where do they have to be? In playoff contention?
Yeah, in playoff contention. But the thing is that they just got through the gauntlet part of their schedule. It eases up now with games at the home game, basically, at the New York Giants, home for the Chargers. You're at the Raiders, at Buffalo, who they always play tough. Miami, Atlanta, Houston, Washington.
How many of those games are they favored in, though?
Maybe not, but they weren't favored in the game yesterday.
Yeah, I know, and they should have lost that game yesterday.
They probably weren't favored in any of these games that they won. They weren't favored against the Bills. I don't think they were favored against Denver, were they? Maybe Denver might have been 2.5.
I would like to do a show bet.
No, I'm not betting on the Jets.
I mean, the Jets are still, I saw the odds. They're still plus 500 not to make the playoffs. Yeah, I think the defense is great, but they have to be really good. Why bring Aaron Rodgers back and risk his long-term health unless you think you're going to contend for a Super Bowl? And you're definitely the third best team in this division. I mean, I think you're crazy if you think they're going to beat the Bills twice. You know how the Bills operate.
No, I know. Well, I do know how the Bills operate. Sometimes it looks really great and sometimes it looks terrible. And to be honest, the Bills and the Jets usually play tough games against each other. The
Bills tend to split these division games, right? Like they'll give one up to the Patriots and then they'll kill them because they're the better team. I think that they're not going to be able to beat the Dolphins, are they? Unless maybe that defense gets to the Dolphins.
Well, anyway, so all these questions are now on the table here with Rodgers kind of looming as his comeback. I mean, the other thing, too, about Aaron Rodgers, I mean, as much as this dude loves the spotlight and loves to be the center of attention, clearly, loves to be doing the interviews on McAfee and all that stuff, and we love it because it gives us stuff to talk about. But, I mean, I think even he has to, like, cede the throne of thirstiest people in sports to Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce. I mean, guys, it's reached J-Lo, A-Rod levels. Like, you're not fooling anybody. You're showing up at SNL together and, like, doing PDAs in front of the paparazzi. Like, it doesn't have to be this overt.
Well, I mean, rest. Yeah, but Travis Kelce he was on Saturday Night Live. First of all, he's already hosted it, and he came back. I'm just saying, like, they had a function to be there. I don't know if that's thirsty. If you get asked to go on Saturday Night Live, you go on Saturday Night Live.
Oh, I agree with you. But do you have to do, like, the forehead kiss in front of the SUV outside of, 30 Rock? Definitely not.
I don't know. Let the two kids live their life, Maggie.
Yeah. This is like when A-Rod and J-Lo went on a date to Rockefeller Center. It was like, no celebrities actually go there.
This is nothing like that. Those are two fake people. This is young, sweet love. I don't understand why you're so against it.
It's just so obvious. It doesn't have to be this obvious.
What?
Up until this weekend, the argument was they're not holding hands, they're not kissing. Now they hold hands and they kiss, and now you're mad at them for that too?
I just think it's reached a new level of thirst. Like, we got it. You have our attention. You don't have to do all this stuff just to get our attention more.
So just stay inside and play Mahjong? I don't understand.
Yeah.
I mean, somehow other people have relationships that aren't in everyone's face this much. I got to tell you, I bet Haley Steinfeld's got to be out of her mind.
Who?
Yeah, exactly.
Hawkeye.
Oh, that's who Haley Steinfeld is? Actually, you guys were talking about her earlier.
Hawkeye.
She was in True Grit.
That's a good movie.
It's Josh Allen's girlfriend who probably thought she was going to get a glow up. Meanwhile, she's spending a Saturday night at a Sabres game. Going to be like, wait a minute, I'm not on SNL? Like, I thought dating a football player was going to give me this whole new level of fame.
Huge debate in the Perloff household this weekend. Is Travis Kelce really good looking? My wife said no. I think he's super handsome, especially when he goes with a mustache.
Oh, see, I think the mustache is working against him, but you guys know my thoughts on this.
I don't know. You're the judge, Maggie. Is Travis Kelce, he's a good-looking man, right?
Yeah, he's fine.
He's, woo.
That was my wife's take, too. Like, he's fine. Yeah, but, like, okay. Like, take him or leave him.
So he's not Jimmy G.
I'm not sure my wife knows who Jimmy Garoppolo is.
But
she knows.
Okay.
She definitely does.
It didn't come up in this. There was not a direct comparison because they didn't really know who Travis Kelce was as this whole Taylor Swift thing was starting. So I just show her and my daughter a picture, and they both were like, he's fine, but not like
he had a dating show.
He's looked better. I don't love this haircut mustache combination.
His outfits
but
are
I'm nitpicking.
terrible, though.
Well, he's dating a rock star now, so he's got.
No, he's always dressed. His dress has always been quite charismatic. The thing about if Travis Kelce is just fine, then what the heck are we?
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't want to answer that question for myself.
230-pound muscular man who's actually quite handsome. If he's just fine, then the rest of us are in trouble.
Well, the bar is different.
Have you seen the little wimps that she's been dating up until this point?
Maybe that's part of the appeal. Bogus is here with some headlines. Good morning.
The whiteboard isn't being updated regularly. It's been 20 days without a Bills meltdown for a while now.
Proud of myself.
We would have had one this morning, though, right? Had the Giants been any good at scoring touchdowns.
There's the snap. Fakes the handoff, throws it into the end zone. It's incomplete. Intended for Darren Waller. Taron Johnson in coverage caused enough disruption to force the incompletion. The game is over, and the Bills escape.
Most educated folks would say Taron Johnson held Darren Waller on an untimed down.
I'm not gonna argue with you, but here's the thing: you already got one. They called the defensive hold or whatever, pass interference in the end zone. You got to get the ball to the 1 yard line on the road. You're not getting 2 of those calls.
But you should. I mean, his left arm was held down on the game-ending play.
I'm just saying you're not getting 2 of those.
The Bills escaping the Giants 14-9. New York failing to score any points on 2 different occasions from the Bills' 1 yard line. Head coach Sean McDermott happy to exhale last night.
Proud of the way the guys found a way. I thought our offense came up with 2 critical scores there in the second half, which we needed, and then defensively to come back and basically on 2 gotta have a drives for them back-to-back, shut them down.
Nothing new yet this morning on Bills running back Damian Harris, who left the field in an ambulance in the second quarter with a neck injury. McDermott said post-game everything was trending in the right direction. The Niners' 19-17 loss in Cleveland included injuries to Christian McCaffrey and Deebo Samuel. Jimmy Garoppolo didn't finish the Raiders' 21-17 win over the Patriots because of a back injury. The Eagles lost tackle Lane Johnson in their 2014 loss at the Jets. And Trevor Lawrence didn't get to kneel out the Jags' 37-20 win over the team that I didn't write down. The Colts, thank you, because of a knee injury. He said he needed some further testing, but spoke to reporters without a brace, no crutches, nothing like that.
Meanwhile, they play Thursday. That's a quick turnaround.
They're New Orleans?
In New Orleans, yeah. And I lost a bet in that game. It was Gardner Minshew, 230 and a half passing yards. I'm like, there's no way. This game's going to be tight. Like, they're going to be running the ball a lot. Meanwhile, they were down by so much because Minshew was pretty bad.
Oh, I thought the big problem was they couldn't run the ball at all.
Well,
they paid all this money to Jonathan Taylor. They couldn't get more than a yard on any run.
As soon as they gave him a swing pass, he was able to take the ball 40 yards. He was big in the passing game for them, which was killing the bet.
Yeah, the Jaguars, by the way, of course,
good defense.
Go to London and pick it up again. Of course, I mean, it's the same exact thing as last year. You have them as a Super Bowl bet. I like where they're headed because they look tough on defense.
Rams running back Kyron Williams looked good again yesterday, running for a career-high 158 yards and a score in a 26-9 win over the Cardinals. Sam Howell, 3 TD throws in the Commanders' 24-16 win in Atlanta, and Joe Burrow with 2 early touchdown passes. Then the Bengals held on for a 17-13 win over the Seahawks.
I love when coaches react like how we would react. Like Arthur Smith, when Ridder threw that interception, was just like exactly like every Falcons fan on their couch or whatever. He just couldn't believe it. Hands on the head. Like the guys who are stoic and don't respond at all. It's like, how do you hold that in?
I get it. By the way, can you predict what the Commanders are going to do on a week-to-week basis?
0. No
They're
chance.
like, we talk about Derek Carr as a Bermuda Triangle of quarterbacks. The Commanders and the Falcons are the Bermuda Triangle of what they're going to do on a given week.
It's crazy.
Where does Arthur Smith's mustache go in your power rankings? That's a creepy one.
Not good.
No.
Great.
No, that's not.
I mean, that guy also, it's like, listen, I know that you don't need to have a lot of money. And look at Mark Davis. He's got all the money in the world, and that haircut, no one can explain it. But like Arthur Smith is like legitimately massively rich because of his family. Like you can't get a better situation there. You can't have a consultant on your look.
Is it his family or did he marry into the FedEx money?
Him.
It's him, huh? That must be nice. Some baseball. The Rangers opened the ALCS in Houston with a great start from Jordan Montgomery. Just enough offense and plenty of defense.
2-1. Here's the pitch. Bregman swings. It's a high drive to deep left field. Going back is Carter. He's on the track. He's at the wall. He leaps, and he makes the catch at the 366 sign. Altuve all the way down to second base, returns to first.
Yeah, returned to first illegally. Review determining Altuve didn't touch second on his way back to first, so he was out as well. The Rangers winning 2-0 with Montgomery King 6 over 6 in a third. Game 2's in Houston, 4:30 Eastern today. Then the NLCS starts at 8. No sweep in the WNBA Finals. The Liberty staying alive, 87-73 over the Aces, who were 7-0 this postseason, winning those games by an average of 17 points. Guys, back to you.
Do you know Jonquel Jones from Liberty?
No.
Oh, GWU.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
George Washington University, baby.
Hey, if the Aces win this, is Tom Brady part of this celebration?
I bet he gets money.
No, is he going to be there and like jumping up and down?
Of course he is.
He definitely will.
I mean, yeah.
I haven't seen him at
Kelsey Plum says he better be based on how she responded in game 1. She said, "About time you effing showed up."
Wait, so he has been at the finals, but I haven't seen him.
He went to, I think, game 1, and it was a big deal because Plum, who's always been a very kind of like tell it like it is kind of girl, and she was like, "Yeah, I told him it's about effing time you showed up."
What do you think she said to Darren Waller, her husband, about that final play of the game last night?
By the way, Waller finally woke up out of whatever stupor he was in.
Yeah.
Finally throw to Darren Waller. Tyrod Taylor is better than Daniel Jones would have done last night. We all agree on that?
Probably.
Yeah, I honestly think that Saquon being out there makes the difference.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's the thing. It's like, it's crazy. Like we talked about, like, oh, like the Giants, like they look so terrible without Saquon Barkley and they can't do anything without Saquon Barkley. But like the day that Daniel Jones is not there, they didn't score a lot of points, but they were able to compete.
There was nobody in that stadium last night in Buffalo rooting harder for the Bills than Daniel Jones. You could have taken everybody in Western New York, me, everyone I went to high school with, all my friends, everyone on the Bills.
Come on.
Daniel
That's
Jones
not
was rooting
fair.
harder for the Bills than anybody. You can't have Tyrod Taylor go in and win that game. I mean, you're already an embattled quarterback. I know he's got $90 million, so what does he care? But you would have lost everybody if Tyrod won that game.
Listen, he's a Duke graduate. The Duke guys are team first guys. Right. Duke took a shot at that great Saturday Live skit about Deion Sanders. We got to play it again. There was a random shrapnel that Duke football took, which is hysterical.
Oh, good, because we have the Daily Deion coming up next. Deion gets spoofed on SNL, and it was worth staying up for. Bogish, thank you so much for the headlines. We get back to more football in just moments. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. 2 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Seconds remaining.
Washington. Good team.
North Carolina.
Tar Heels.
Air Force.
And see, that's exactly my point.
What is your point?
Got it.
15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Welcome back to Maggie and Perloff. Busy weekend around the NFL and college, but we always find time for Deion Sanders.
Daily.
Do you believe that?
Deion.
You believe that?
This portion of the show is brought to you by Wesley Financial. Stuck in a timeshare and want out? Contact Wesley Financial Group now and get a free timeshare exit information kit at wesleyfinancialgroup.com. We bring you sound from Deion Sanders, but today a little different because after blowing that huge lead, 29-0 lead to Stanford at the half, losing in double overtime, Deion Sanders got spoofed on SNL. Here is Kenan Thompson as Deion Sanders on Saturday Night Live saying he fell asleep during the Stanford game.
But it's not perfect. I mean, just last night, you lost to Stanford in double overtime.
Wasn't that crazy? Man, we were up 29-0 at the half. Yeah. So I went home and fell asleep. I woke up this morning shocked as anyone. But come on, man, nobody's perfect. Name one team that's undefeated.
Okay, well there's Georgia.
Right.
Michigan.
Mm-hmm.
Ohio State.
That's another one.
Florida State.
Forgot about them.
Oklahoma.
Sure.
Penn State.
Indeed.
Washington.
Good team.
North Carolina.
Tar Heels.
Air Force.
And see, that's exactly my point.
Here's more Kenan Thompson as Deion Sanders on Saturday Night Live says Colorado has won every game.
Prime time in the house. You know what I'm saying? We just keep winning, man. Every game, every minute, we winning at life.
Yeah. Well, you're also 4-3, so so you have lost a few.
Colin, look at me, man. What about me makes you think that I care about what you think about me? Huh?
It was so good. So Deion Sanders gets spoofed on SNL, but in real life, this was a really tough loss because whether you were expecting Colorado to be good or whether you think that now they're coming back down to earth or getting what's due to them, I don't know how you feel about Colorado. The real reality is, where's the next win on their schedule? They're playing 3 ranked teams after this. They play UCLA, they're playing Oregon State, they have to play Utah. They also have to play Arizona and at Washington State. It's possible that after this, fun start, that Colorado ends up not making a bowl game.
Yeah, I mean, UCLA and Utah, these teams, I feel like Colorado can beat them because they can't do anything on offense. So
they just lost to Stanford for a while.
I know. It doesn't look great. And then, by the way, I'm the one who's been all season like we're overhyping Deion, we're overhyping Colorado. I just think, Deion himself said it. We're just counting on Sheduer Sanders, our quarterback, to be Superman. And they think that they can win all these games where Sheduer is just going to save them. This is their 3rd overtime game. Eventually, they're going to lose one of those. I'm sorry, it's their 2nd overtime game. I thought they went to overtime against Arizona State. You can't win every single overtime game. They count on Sheduer to just be too magical, and finally he had a mistake.
Let's play cut 16, please. This is the real Deion Sanders saying the team's not built for the moment.
Right now, we're not built for the moment. We're not built for the moment. Some of our players aren't built for the moment where they have to make a play or they have to keep contained or they have to make a block or they have to get another yard. We're not built for the moment right now.
Some of that falls on the players, no doubt, but doesn't that also fall a bit on the head coach as well? Sanders, Perloff, you had asked, how's Deion going to take the losing? Because he really didn't lose at any level when he was a player. Here was Sanders, and you can hear it in his voice, saying he's never been involved in a 29-0 collapse.
We can't sit down and have no pity party. Y'all don't feel bad for us. Some of y'all are ecstatic about what transpired today, and I know that, but that's cool. We're going to take this one on the chin because we deserve it. 29, I've never been in one of these types. I don't remember, from youth on, I don't remember being up 29-0 and losing a football game. I really don't. This is a little tough for me.
Yeah, and it's like almost lost it for words, which is never anything you would say about Deion Sanders.
You got to give him some credit there, though. He is handling this pretty well. I mean, I thought he was going to melt down and just not understand it because that's what happens when great players become coaches. They don't understand when their players fail. He really has handled this well. I think he's been nearly perfect.
Well, yeah, he has because he's had a lifetime in the spotlight, so you would hope that he'd handle it well, but doesn't it also some of it have to come back on him? I mean, he's not above reproach in terms of criticism for the coaching. He said he saw the team get complacent, and there was nothing he could do about it.
He's got 70 new players, and he won 3 games in the beginning of the season. I think he's a little bit above reproach with this team because basically the formula in the beginning of the season, everyone said he can't win because everyone there is new. It takes time for a team to gel, and he sort of broke that expectation. I think he's already exceeded expectations. I give him a full pass. But you're saying you think he's somewhat responsible for this?
I think he's definitely exceeded expectations, but as the games have gotten tougher, and I can't even say the opposition got tougher. I mean, they were favored against Stanford. It's like, are you seeing, I don't know. Are you seeing that maybe Sanders talking about his team isn't built for the moment? Is he as a coach built for the moment? As a player, he was always built for the moment. But as a coach, they've had penalties. They've had late substitution stuff. They've had things they've had to clean up as a coaching staff.
I mean, they inherited a 1-11 team, brought in all new players.
Yeah.
This totally makes sense. So I was trying to find the spread. They are 6.5-point underdogs against UCLA. That's within reason.
Yeah, that's true.
That's a game you could win. I don't think they go the rest of the schedule without a win or two. What do they need, 6 to get to the bowl?
They need 6, yep. They're 4.
Yeah, he's going to change that rule to get Deion in a bowl game.
Make sure they're in the Duke's Mayo Bowl. 855-212-4CBS. Coming up, major upsets yesterday in the NFL. What does it mean for a pair of contenders moving forward? We'll let you know. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 4 minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. Forty-five seconds remaining. Thirty seconds remaining. Fifteen seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
He thinks Frisbee golf is the sport of the future. She's sticking with football. They are Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
There are upsets yesterday in the NFL. Eagles lose to the Jets. The 49ers lose to the Cleveland Browns. The Bills nearly lost to the New York Giants, and that was the biggest spread of the entire NFL season. And it came down to literally the last play of the game, an untimed down, and maybe the Bills got away with one. Well, they definitely escaped, but they might have gotten away with a little pass interference on the final play, but they move to 4-2. Giants are 1-5.
I'm curious, as a Bills fan, did you want them to pass the ball there or maybe hand the ball off to Saquon there? Which would have made you more nervous? That last untimed play from the 1-yard line.
Oh, my gosh. I was a wreck. I mean, this season is going to take so much. It's going to weather my face. Like, I'm going to look older. You know how, like, presidents, when they get in office, from, like, when they take office to when they leave, they look so much older? That's going to be me by the end of the season, whenever it ends for the Bills.
I'm not quite sure why. It seems like the Bills are doing the same season they've been doing for 4 or 5 years straight.
I'm actually, I look 75 years old.
Let me preview for it. Josh Allen's going to run around and make gigantic plays and make mistakes.
Yeah, then that if they are going to keep playing that way, then they're never going to win. I've called them the Dallas Cowboys of the AFC. Right now, it's a lot of hype, but I don't have a lot of faith that, even though I know they won yesterday, I don't have a lot of faith that they're going to be able to continue this against good teams. And last night wasn't even a good team. That's the irony. You've got the Giants who are down multiple offensive linemen. Hell, they brought Justin Pugh, their offensive lineman, back. He was selling real estate last week. He ends up playing for them at tackle, and the Bills still didn't have a great game plan to try to win this game. The offense is they're so obsessed about, like, putting up these gigantic numbers and not winning the game. Like, they all thought they were going to make the Pro Bowl last night off of one game, and the Giants came ready to play.
It's funny. Vegas never quits on your Bills.
Yeah.
They're quitting on your Bills a little bit. They just moved the Dolphins ahead of them on the Super Bowl odds.
Interesting.
Yeah, they're down to 5th. I don't think I remember the last time they weren't a top 3 Super Bowl favorite team.
They haven't looked good. They have in some games. They didn't look good against the Jets. They didn't look good last night.
I do think from my Eagles and the Niners, like the Niners and the Eagles are still heavy Super Bowl favorites. Yeah. I don't think no one's going 17-0, and even with your Bills, I do think people overreact to one game over and over again. I think Vegas doesn't because they know, a rain-soaked loss for the Niners. What does that mean? A fluky loss by the Eagles against a great New York Jets defense on the road. What does that mean? I just think we tend to overreact. For the Bills, it seems like more accumulative, these kind of games.
Yeah, it's not an overreaction to one game. It's you've seen now the offense go through these kind of spurts. And for as brilliant as Josh Allen is, like sometimes I'm not sure what I'm listening to. Like Chris Collinsworth last night is like, this is what you want. You want the ball in Josh Allen's hand at the end. It's like, no. I wanted Josh Allen handing the ball off and running and actually having some kind of balanced offense through the first 3 quarters of the game, so that he doesn't have to do this in the final 4 minutes where he has to look like Superman. Like, that's not how this should go.
Keep dreaming, Maggie. Keep dreaming. Because that's not going to happen. How the guy never gets hurt is amazing, too.
Well, knock on wood. I mean,
he did get hurt a little last night.
Yeah, he hit his head against the turf and had to go into the medical tent. And I think he might have hurt his shoulder a little bit, too.
Yeah.
But you see, like, Sean McVay yesterday. I think Sean McVay at one point called, like, 8 straight run plays.
Yeah.
Like, he's not afraid to do that because if it's working, just keep doing it. And last night, they just keep going away from the run. I know it sounds like I'm complaining about a win. It's because I am. I don't know if you can learn a lesson or have a wake-up call off of a win, and that's what they need.
I think they're going to be okay. I think the big question for them is postseason. When these running quarterback teams, and they are fully a running quarterback team, it feels like in the postseason that doesn't work all the time.
Yeah, you're right. I mean, listen, Cam Newton did get to a Super Bowl.
Yeah, and Josh Allen almost beat the Chiefs in the divisional round a few years ago.
That's true.
But generally,
Jalen Hurts was kind of a running quarterback last year. They got to the Super Bowl.
They did. That's true. Lamar Jackson has been brilliant this year, but the problem is he won't be able to run in the playoffs like he can now. That's another team. We didn't even talk about that Sunday morning game.
Yep.
Will you now admit that Lamar Jackson was really good in that game against Pittsburgh? It's just his receivers have to step up.
I knew that. I mean, they dropped so many passes. I thought that game was so, like, it was making my skin crawl by the
Ravens
end.
game?
Yeah, the Ravens game. Like, the last minute and a half of that game was so mind-bendingly stupid that I could barely watch it. It was so riddled with just mistakes and terrible play.
I guess so. I mean, the spread was pretty funny. It was a 5-point spread, and the Titans had every chance to cover that and just would not. They refused to.
Well, that's because, like, Malik Willis can't throw the ball.
But he can run, and then he had a couple shots at the end zone that they had 1st and goal at the 1, I think. That was a bad beat. But the Titans weren't winning that game. I think the Ravens are sneaky tough competition for your Bills in the AFC. I think there are the few. I think Chiefs, Ravens, Bills to me, and Dolphins.
So what about the Bengals with a big win yesterday? That was a tight game. That was like back and forth with the Seahawks.
That's a great point. Man, Maggie, I feel better for my Eagles now after the loss. The more you say about it.
Somehow I made Perloff feel better. His team actually lost yesterday, by the way.
You have a unique ability to turn a Bills win into a devastating loss. Like you came in with a sort of, oh, look at what we did last night. I'm like, my team lost, and you actually
like
won.
la-di-da. Your team lost, and you won't admit that was in any way like a bad loss for them, which is driving people nuts.
Yeah.
Because you're not giving the Jets defense its flowers.
No, I said the Jets defense is good, but the Jets are okay as a team. They're not good. They should have lost that game.
Well, I guess all the more impressive then that they were able to beat your juggernaut of a team, the Philadelphia Eagles.
I just think Jalen Hurts had a huge mental mistake at the wrong time. That's the first time. The guy's lost 3 regular season games. Am I going to kill him? I mean, you're not going to win every game.
Does it look the same that it looked last year?
It looks like the early season, yes. I mean, last year, remember the fans almost revolted? Or was that 2 years?
2 years ago, dude.
Yeah, but last year they had a couple really ugly games early. They didn't really hit their stride till late. They had one a lucky win.
I thought they started 7-0 last year.
Yeah, but there were a lot of close games.
Okay.
They reminded me so much of the Commanders game last year that they lost. Honestly, they have much bigger problems. They have a real schedule coming up. I think they have the Dolphins, the Chiefs. They don't have to worry about this. The Bills. So I think they're going to lose a bunch of games. I see them at 11-6. But if you take them lightly in the playoffs, you're making a big mistake.
So last year, their first 5-6 games. So you had 35-18 over Detroit in week 1, 26-7 over Minnesota at home, 24-8 against the Commanders.
Yeah, that's like every game they've played so far this year, 24-8.
These are all 2-score games. I mean,
all right, well then what?
And then they had a 29-21 win over the Jaguars. Jaguars are a good team. And then the only ugly game is 2017 over the Cardinals last year, who had Kyler Murray. Like, the Eagles have had games this year where they're like, they barely survived the Commanders just a couple weeks ago. Like, I don't know how you could say they look the same from this year as opposed to last season.
They've been playing ball control football. I mean, a lot of these, and I think it's good. Like, they've been sort of grinding out wins where they just hold on to the ball and crush people. They've got this thing where they do these long drives. You saw it against the Jets.
Yep.
When did the Jets first get the ball back after the Eagles touched
No,
it?
they took up the whole first quarter, which was like crazy.
In the Commanders game, they had what was the game? It might have been Tampa Bay or Minnesota. They had a 9-minute drive to close the entire game. I just think that the problem is when you have those long drives, eventually you're going to make a mistake against a team like the Jets. The Jets they're a little too good to try and just churn out the entire game.
I mean, here's the thing, right? You say no team's going to go 17-0. Yes, we know that, right? You're going to lose games. You just don't expect that you're going to lose them to Zach Wilson and the Jets.
Yeah, but
that's
your Bills lost the exact same game.
I know, but that's
literally to the T, the exact game.
It was, and this is why I get upset about the Bills. I'm not brushing it off like you're brushing off the Eagles loss. I actually take these things personally, and I take them like to heart. And also the Bills and the Jets always play each other tough. They're division rivals.
Right,
like
but
you guys with the Commanders.
Honestly, I think you made a mistake after that game. You bet against your own Bills. You're like, this is indicative of where they are. And they went on a roll after that. And you lost a bet to Stu because you were so negative after that loss.
I know.
When it didn't mean anything.
I had to buy him pizza. But see, it does mean something because I just watched that same game from week 1 last night. I watched the same game that they lost to the Jets. I saw them play that same game against the Giants, and they were fortunate to win and maybe got a little help from the referees at the end.
So are they going to lose their next game? They have a bunch of easy games coming up, right?
At Patriots is next.
Now, are they going to lose that one?
Still Belichick. No, if I
you were overly negative.
CBS. Let's go to Paul. He is in Portland. Good morning, Paul.
Good morning. I was able to wake up and see your show.
Well, thanks for doing it. How you feeling today?
Yeah. Groggy in the morning, but I'm fine.
All right, next question. What's on your mind?
Okay. I really need to talk to Perloff, but he really doesn't want to listen to me. So
I'm listening, Paul. I always listen to you.
No, you're great. I'm just sorry to share this with you. But what you're calling the Rocky theme is not the Rocky theme. I'm surprised someone else hasn't called in to tell you. I think the song you're listening to is called Going the Distance. The Rocky theme is Gonna Fly Now. So that is in the soundtrack you look and it says Gonna Fly Now, parentheses, the Rocky theme.
Uh-huh.
So
Interesting.
Yeah,
that's what he's running through the Italian market.
Exactly.
Gonna fly.
And then
he
runs up the steps and everything.
Yeah.
So
that song could make me run through a wall too. That's a great play. I think you're exactly right.
So the one that they play for the Eagles, which is funny because now that I've been doing this show with you, you say I don't understand why opposing teams play the Rocky theme. The Jets played it yesterday with 3.5 minutes left to go in the game. Whatever you said the Rocky theme is, like when the clock dings.
Dun, 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 dun. So, Paul, that's not the Rocky theme. Dun, 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 dun.
No. Gonna Fly Now, that's the Rocky theme. The one you're playing where you hear Mickey and Adrian and Win Rocky and all. I wondered why you played that for the Peanut Butter Challenge. I said, why is he playing that song? Because, I grew up in Rocky, and that was in 76, the bicentennial, so...
Well, Paul, thank you for bringing this to our attention, and now we've got to bring the show to a grinding stop. No, thank you. Okay. This is Gonna Fly Now. This is all coming off of our conversation about sports anthems from last week.
I think this is the same song.
Yes, this is the same song. You're talking about when Adrian...
Just win, baby.
Yes.
Yeah.
One thing I want you to do for me.
What?
Come here.
You hear the bell.
Win.
This one.
Win.
What are we waiting for? Take this!
This is not Gonna Fly Now. This is a different song. Yes.
Wow.
That's a different song. You've been calling that the Rocky theme.
That's going to
Sorry, it's just a little 70s keytar jam right now.
Well, buddy, you're like Diplo on that. That was awesome.
It's the remix, baby.
That is unbelievable. I never realized it. But I think it's the same musical motif.
Well, okay, but not
I think
the
they're
same
very
song.
related. I think they're just reshaping Gonna Fly Now into a different instrumental version.
Listen, let's be honest. The real Rocky theme song is Survivor's Eye of the Tiger.
Oh, really?
That's the real
I thought you were
Rocky
going to go
theme.
Hearts on Fire from Rocky IV.
I do like that one, too.
There's no reason way out. There's no easy way out.
Yeah,
right?
there's no
easy. Which one is that?
That's Rocky 3.
Yeah.
My favorite Rocky.
Okay. I'll give you that. As long as you go Rocky 3 is your favorite, not Rocky 4 like Maggie.
I'm sorry. I'm a product of the 80s. 855-212-4CBS. All right. We will talk about some bad quarterback performances from yesterday, but are they going to get a pass? We're going to do that next. Don't move. Man, Paul really just blew your mind there, didn't he?
I got to get to the bottom of this. I think they're actually the same song, different versions. So, by the way, you said the word motif in the show. That's a first.
Did I? Jay was complimenting our vocabulary, so maybe we'll add that to the list. Okay, we get to quarterbacks. Are we giving them a pass? Are we not giving them a pass on some brutal performances from yesterday? Can they be explained away? We will do that next. Don't move. It's Maggie and Perloff on CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. Three minutes, 30 seconds remaining. 3 minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. .45 seconds remaining. .30 seconds remaining. .15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Back on Maggie and Perloff. My world has been changed forever now that I know all this time I haven't been playing the Rocky theme song in my head, but some other song. What song is this? It's just a normal
bump back music.
Okay. Why don't you come back with Rocky? Like, it's Monday morning. Everyone needs inspiration.
It doesn't me up.
Anything from Rocky. By the way, I think we've discovered any song that's in Rocky in a montage is awesome. Doesn't matter
agree.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
It's the one thing we can agree on this morning. And football, not so much, especially with a pair of big.
Yeah, there you go.
There's no easy way out. Giving in can't be wrong.
Yeah.
Like, what instrument is that?
Who knows? It's the 80s.
I think in the 80s, they were just like, I feel like they were pretending to play instruments in a lot of these music videos, but I don't think they were really doing anything.
Is that 4, by the way? That's Rocky 4, right?
No, it's Rocky 3.
That's
Rocky 3.
That's where,
are they on the beach?
Yeah, after he lost all his confidence and finally, Adrian said, you got to stop being afraid. And he hits the weights and he starts listening to Apollo and they're running on the beach. He finally beats Apollo. Rocky 3 is perfect.
There is no tomorrow.
We all know that.
But if you look back on the running on the beach scene, like one of them is wearing like a yellow turtle, like a yellow tank top.
Rocky is.
It is a very 80s pastel. I don't know.
Well, that's how you show off the steroids. You can't cover those up under clothes.
See, to me, No Easy Way Out would have fit better in the Cold War backdrop of Rocky 4. Higher stakes. I mean, if we can change, you can change.
And you wonder why it's my favorite Rocky. It's because the stakes are the highest. I love that Perloff's fandom of Rocky is now coming into question. We had a big, and whether or not you're a fraud, which has been alleged in both the YouTube chat and also Twitch.tv.
That I'm a fraud Rocky fan? That's being alleged?
It's being alleged that you're a fraud Rocky fan, that you didn't know that that the two songs were different. But I want to take us in a different direction about fandom of certain movies and stuff. Perloff thinks that he would be able to hang for 4 days at Comic-Con, which is where EJ was for the last couple days. And EJ said no chance. Like, Perloff would be leaving that place in a body bag.
Yeah, I initially was encouraged by Perloff, seeking an invite to Comic-Con next year. But then I thought about it more, and I said, can Andrew really sit through a Goosebumps panel at 11 a.m.? No. Or could, how many times?
Why are you sitting through that, AJ, is the question.
Why is there
AJ?
A Goosebumps panel at 11 a.m.?
It was fantastic. There's a new show on Disney Plus. It's Goosebumps. They've brought it back. And
oh, I know what this is.
Why do you need a panel for it?
You got to see a screen. You got to hear from the directors. Now, the only thing kind of sucked about it is we have this strike, so there are no actors there. Normally, that's the big reason why the actors give out autographs and they talk about the show.
EJ,
who's the lead on Goosebumps?
I know the guy. Was he in? He's in something famous. I don't know his name. But he's not a lead.
Can't wait to get his autograph.
No, he's not a lead.
EJ, say what you want. I know what you're doing here. You're just embarrassed to be seen with me at Comic-Con, and you're trying to discourage me.
No, not at all. I would love for you to come out. I'm concerned that by 3 p.m. you'd be tired. There's a lot of walking. You're walking through the show floor. You gotta get out of the way of Dr. Octopus, and then get out of the way of Goku, who's dressed up. It's you're a tall guy, so there's a lot of space. Now you're thin, so maybe you'll be able to squeeze 2 spots, but you're also going to be spotted everywhere. Everyone's going to be able to see you.
You're basically saying Perloff's got no grit.
You think that I can put on pointy ears and go see a Rings of Power seminar for an hour and a half? I'm in, EJ. I know this genre. I know more than you think. I will not embarrass you.
I hope so. It's a long day. I mean, this is like a 10 a.m. start, and the day doesn't end until about 6, 7. That's assuming that the last good panels aren't until 8 or 9 o'clock, which happens sometimes.
I think worried about your blood sugar?
I think Perloff needs to go in a costume.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, you got to cosplay. That would be the thing.
Like what movie could I dress up as, or who could I be?
Well, you could be somebody tall. I'm trying to
Gumby.
It's not a 1970s cartoon.
I feel like Pete really had that one ready to go.
I saw a really great Groot costume. Groot from the Guardians of the Galaxy.
Oh, Groot. Oh, yeah.
And I think, we found someone who really knows what they're doing. I'm sure that we have callers and listeners who know how to do cosplay. Like, if they could make you Groot, you could absolutely pull it off.
Oh, I could totally be Groot. I am Groot. Maggie, by the way, doesn't like Marvel and probably doesn't know what we're talking about here. I am Groot. Anything?
I think is that the tree?
Yeah, it's a tree.
There you go.
Do you know who voices I am Groot?
John Leguizamo?
No, Philly guy.
Oh, Vin Diesel.
Oh, sorry. No, I'm a Rocket. My bad.
Yeah. Well, you know who Rocket the Raccoon is. He just said it.
Yeah, sorry.
Vin Diesel?
No, Bradley.
No, Bradley Cooper.
Oh, Bradley Cooper. Guys,
Yeah.
I don't.
That's a pretty big star there, Maggie. A pretty big Eagles fan. If he rooted for the Bills.
What do you think he thought about Jalen Hurts throwing 3 picks?
It's one thing for me. Like, you think that you're making me nervous. I can't wait to go to this thing. Make Maggie go to that. Now that would be an adventure. Like she thinks the best Star Wars was the one with Ewan McGregor and Liam Neeson.
I thought the best
Maggie.
I've only seen the first 3.
I'm trying to figure out what would be more fun though. Like Maggie, I know would think she's not gonna have a good time.
Yeah.
But like Perloff has this like irrational confidence that he'll get through this and that it's not tough. That's the part that I think is
Comic-Con. What is it?
No, it's TJ.
These tough nerds there? What are you talking about?
I will go with you as long as I can be extremely intoxicated. How's that sound?
Oh, they give out alcohol. So
all right, now I'm in.
The Conehead's going to be there?
I think you're 2 decades too late, Pete.
Oh, sorry.
855-212-4CBS. Quickly, we'll check in with Big Dave, our pal in Kentucky. Good morning, Dave.
Good morning. Fly, Eagles, fly. Allow us to go back in time to Friday, probably about 8 minutes prior to the end of the show, when one Andrew Perloff McLovin Jr. III jabs the bear, formerly known as Big Dave, by reminding him that his Eagle, my arch nemesis, are undefeated.
Yeah.
Allow me to say that is not the case anymore.
Oh, you're talking a big talk for Monday morning when a certain team is in prime time tonight, and they could mess things up pretty good, the Dallas Cowboys. Shouldn't you have called in Tuesday after they won? I think you're now jinxing your own team.
Oh, we're going to get destroyed. We're going to get destroyed. I mean, I have
reverse jinx.
No.
You're favored.
I am being completely honest. I have zero confidence in this team. I have no doubt. Of course, your Eagles lose, the Niners lose. Be a perfect opportunity for us to gain some ground. That's not what we do. We will throw that sucker in reverse, and we will get destroyed. Dak, he's got to top Jalen Hurts. He's got to throw at least 4 interceptions tonight. So, no, this is not reverse psychology. This is complete and absolute sincerity.
Man.
You're favored, and you're going against Brandon Staley. How big a lead is safe for Brandon Staley? You better be down by 30. Otherwise, he's going to find a way to make it a game.
This is a bad coach off tonight. This is Mike McCarthy, Brandon Staley. I mean, what doozies do we have in store for us this eve?
I know. And, of course, the Wonder Boy, our former OC, no doubt, I mean, he'll look like the most brilliant offensive mind that's ever schemed a play.
True. Wait, but here's the thing, Dave. I could see
enjoying the show, guys.
Thanks,
just
Dave.
wanted to call in.
You're the
Thanks,
best.
buddy.
Good luck to your Cowboys tonight against the Chargers. That's Monday Night Football in LA. But here's the thing: can't you see Kellen Moore really trying to? I don't know what kind of guy he is. I have no sense of his personality and stuff, but trying to rub it in the Cowboys' faces with a few trick plays, some razzle dazzle.
Actually, though, Dave did bring up a good point. When the Niners lost, I should have known that the Eagles were going to lose, because we talked at the end of the Eagles-Jets game, and you said, well, if the Niners and the Eagles lost, that means my Bills are either going to lose the game or be in a battle. It was in the air yesterday.
Backup quarterbacks pulling off upsets was all that was going through my mind as Tyrod Taylor is moving the Giants down the field with 2 minutes left to go.
Yeah, backup quarterbacks in that case with the Giants were probably better than the starter. We'll see.
Better than the starter. He's just so different from the starter. I mean, Tyrod can run a little bit, but not like Daniel Jones.
I don't know. I thought Tyrod Taylor played pretty well last night. They just couldn't punch it in a couple times.
No, you're absolutely right. And then they had the miscue. Speaking of bad coaching and bad execution, I don't know if you can put this on Dayball, but the end of the half where there's a moment when they're at the what were they, at the 4? At the 1. Thank you, Bogusch. At the 1 yard line, they stuffed Saquon Barkley because Tyrod Taylor audibled to a run play when he obviously should have gone past there. If it falls incomplete, then you put 3 points on the board with a field goal. At the best case scenario, you score a touchdown there and put a little more distance between yourself and the Bills.
Maybe, but do you think so? The Bills came out and they kind of dominated the second half, though. That's one thing.
Nobody scored in the third quarter.
Yeah, but did you really think they were going to lose?
Yes. Yes. I definitely thought they were going to lose. 100%, especially when Tyler Bass, their kicker, who's been so good, misses second from 50-plus yards. He's usually so good on those. When he missed the second field goal, I was like, oh, no. That's always the ripe for the upset. It was your Eagles with Jake Elliott, missed the 37-yarder. It was Jake Moody for the 49ers, missed a 41-yarder. The kicker missing a big field goal is essential for the upset.
Yeah, it is a bit. I mean, listen, they were up 14-9 on the Giants as time is going out. They should be able to close that down.
Well, it took an untimed down at the very end. I mean, this is why my nerves are
I'm saying
frayed.
they should be a little better in that situation.
You think?
I don't know.
Should have been just 14-9.
No.
They had one. The Giants had a pass in that series. I was like, who did Taylor hit downfield?
Either Jalen Hyatt or
he hit somebody. It might have been
Wan'Dale Robinson.
He hit somebody over his shoulder. I'm like, that was the luckiest pass I've ever seen. How is Tyrod Taylor throwing these? He's good.
Yeah,
I think you guys got a little unlucky that Daniel Jones was out.
Bogusch is here with some headlines. Good morning.
Good morning, and we go right there. After that dud in London, the Bills were dudding again, scoreless through 3 quarters against the crappy Giant defense. But then 2 Josh Allen touchdown throws had them ahead. They had the ball with 1:46 to go, a chance to run out the game. Allen underthrew Dawson Knox on a potential game-ending third-down conversion. Then Tyler Bass missed that field goal, giving the Giants a chance to win with the touchdown. They had an untimed down from the Bills' 1 yard line thanks to a pass interference call. but Tyrod Taylor could not connect them with Darren Waller in the end zone, maybe because he was being held. Taylor so close to a win that would have broken Daniel Jones's heart.
Tough to go out on that one, especially when we did as much to get down there in that situation. We like to come out with the win in that.
It was only one play that time, but it was the second time last night the Giants did not score despite having a first down at the Bills' 1-yard line. They're the only team in the last 30 years to do that. The 14-9 final is their...
It sucks when you're historic. Like, it's not just bad enough that, like, and I've been on the wrong side of this. We all have. Where your team either gets blown out and it's like historic, or you get these close losses and like that hasn't happened since 1908. It's just like, can't we just lose in anonymity?
The 14-9 final, the fourth loss in a row for the Giants. The Bills, meanwhile, get to 4-2. Buffalo running back Damian Harris left the game in the second quarter in an ambulance with a neck injury. Head coach Sean McDermott said post-game all the initial reports were good, but that's the last update we've gotten on Harris.
You know, I'm with you guys. I've rethought it. Maybe branding Damar Hamlin on the back of the ambulance is like not where you want.
Right.
I'm sure the city of Buffalo probably has Damar Hamlin stuff up everywhere, you know, and it was number 3 and putting all, like, probably the back of the ambulance is not the place where you want, like, hey, Damar Hamlin, we saved him.
Those trainers, though, I mean, those are sort of the heroes of Buffalo, though, still.
Definitely.
So how do you honor them in a way that people will understand? I think that's what they're trying to get to, saying this was one of the great things that's ever happened to our franchise, that we saved this man's life.
No, I know, but it was actually the doctors in Cincinnati, let's be fair, where he was in the ICU. It was the Bills trainers, but it happened on the road, not to take anything away from the medical facilities in Buffalo.
But the Bills trainers, they interceded immediately in a way that did save his life, right?
Absolutely, and here's how you thank them. Give them money.
Okay, that's
give them lots of money, more money for that.
Jimmy Garoppolo reportedly left the stadium in Vegas in an ambulance after suffering a back injury in the first half of the Raiders' 21-17 home win over the Patriots. Josh McDaniels is now 3-0 against Bill Belichick.
That certainly wasn't a Picasso out there. I don't think anybody would misinterpret that. But, you know, there was definitely some good things that we did periodically throughout the game in all 3 phases.
Sacking Mac Jones for a safety with 1:47 left. One of the good things they periodically did yesterday. Bill Belichick has never been 1-5 before in New England. We've got some breaking baseball news this morning. The Marlins and GM Kim Ng reportedly parting ways. Ng just helped build the team that made a surprising run to the playoffs. She was baseball's first female GM. Her contract was up, so I wonder if this again is the Marlins being cheap and costing them good people.
I'm telling you, lots of people should be lining up.
Yep.
Kim Ng. She made some nice trades. Looking at you, Mets.
There was a thought Boston.
Boston
'cause of her
also.
history in Boston.
Oh,
she might be eyeing that.
Is she
job.
from there originally?
I think she's from Chicago.
In the front, I think she was in the front office over there. Was she bogus? I don't remember.
I know she came out of MLB headquarters for the Marlins job, but I don't remember where she was.
She's the White
She
Sox.
did work with the White Sox for a while.
The White Sox,
Yes.
not the Red Sox.
But she might be eyeing the Boston job.
Yeah, which is open.
Yeah, they'll definitely overpay somebody. So will the Mets.
The Athletic says the Giants interviewed assistant coach Alyssa Nacken for their managerial opening. She was one of multiple internal candidates to get a sit-down with the front office, replacing Gabe Kapler. He made Nacken the first full-time female coach in MLB history when he hired her back in 2020. On the field last night, the Rangers opened the ALCS with a 2-0 win in Houston. I think this makes sense from losing manager Dusty Baker.
This team's the best I've been around about moving on. You know, there's nothing you can do, and if you're going to lose a game, you know, you're ready to lose it in the first game versus, you know, in the middle of the series.
Is that right?
I think it is. I think he means, like, don't lose the game that ends the series later on. Like, it's okay. If you're going to lose one, get out of the way and then be fine.
Now.
No, I get it.
But it just seems weird.
No, but I think that's like your mentality-wise. You know, you drop game 1. It's like, well, we still got a long way to go.
Right.
But there's got to be like some kind of metric on you lose game 1 and how often you go on to lose the series.
Especially at home.
Yeah, right.
Texas lefty Jordan Montgomery, 6 1/3 scoreless last night. Nathan Eovaldi gets the nod in game 2 against Houston lefty Framber Valdez. That's a 3:37 Central first pitch today. The NLCS begins at 8 Eastern. Over 56,000 people watched Iowa and DePaul play an exhibition basketball game at Kinnick Stadium yesterday. The crowd doubled the previous record for women's college basketball. The Hawkeyes winning 94-72 with Caitlin Clark posting 34 points, 11 rebounds, and 10 assists. Damian Lillard, 14 points in 22 minutes in his Bucks preseason debut, a 108-97 win at the Lakers. There was hockey last night. The Ducks beat the Hurricanes 6-3, extending their home opener winning streak to 9 seasons. And baseball, softball, lacrosse, and flag football will be part of the 2028 Olympics in L.A.
By the way, the Phillies won on the road in Game 1 against the Astros in the World Series, and that didn't work out exactly.
Yes, recent
so
history.
Game 1 is not necessarily an arbiter of what's to come.
So as far as Olympic sports, when are we just going to put like the hot dog eating contest or something in there?
Next time.
That's got to be coming, right?
Competitive eating?
Competitive eating.
Next time it swings back to America.
Another thing that the U.S. could likely dominate. It's like we're trying to goose the medals in our favor. Lacrosse? Do they even play lacrosse like in China?
You were saying the home team, the home country gets to pick some sports?
At least suggest them.
So what did France pick? I'm curious. Like, what are they good at?
I don't know, like making croissants,
Yeah, I was just
pastry chefing. I don't know. I'm being really just
snotty,
very stereotypical there.
Yeah.
Cigarette smoking. Smoke a pack in an hour.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't care who wins these. Like, it's a great point. Lacrosse. I've never heard of lacrosse in another country. Maybe Canada.
Yes, Canada. I think it actually started in Canada. And there are lacrosse world championships. I think the U.S. usually gets to the end of the championships. I don't know if they win it all the time, but there definitely is international lacrosse.
Yeah, okay. But like, so you're going to get a team from what, Colombia, Ecuador? They're going to come in with lacrosse teams?
No, but I bet like Australia, New Zealand. I think there's a team from Israel. There's some countries that play lacrosse.
I know, but not enough.
Yeah, we're probably going to win a gold medal, but who cares?
And by the way, Paris 2024, in terms of what they submitted as proposals for 4 new sports, it included breaking, sports, climbing, skateboarding, and surfing.
Surfing, huh? Those are all fun sports.
One for
breakdancing, climbing, surfing, and skateboarding.
So it's funny. France picked all the X Games sports, and we picked all the high school sports that we only play here.
I thought skateboarding was already in it. No, that's BMX biking. Sorry.
I can't wait. Yeah, it's because Shaun White wins all those Winter Olympic golds. And he probably would have won all the skateboarding too because he's amazing. But I think breakdancing is probably now the number 2 sport in the entire Olympics behind basketball and gymnastics. I cannot wait to see this. I saw a feature. There's a huge team from New York that is favored to win the gold.
Yeah, you think? They should be. I mean, breakdancing, basically, it was invented in New York.
Yeah, but you know Europe. You know that there's some 13-year-old in Germany who's been practicing. I don't know. I just
feel, watching YouTube?
Yeah, I feel like there's going to be a dark horse from somewhere in the world. This is all I want to see. I want to see if LeBron can win a medal at 40. I think that basketball team is too old, and how the breakdancing does. That's it. Is there anything else? And Simone Biles will be there. What's the latest on that, Bogues?
I got nothing. She remains good, and they're in.
Perloff can't wait to see the Kazakh breaking team.
Once the Kazakhs hit that cardboard, forget it.
855-212-4CBS, 855-212-4227. Got a pick for you for tonight's Monday night game, plus the latest from one major storyline from yesterday. We get to that in a moment. Don't move. Maggie and Perloff, CBS Sports Radio.
You're in a 5-minute break. Four minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Four minutes remaining. 3 minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Three minutes remaining. Two minutes, 30 seconds remaining. Two minutes remaining. One minute, 30 seconds remaining. One minute remaining. $45 seconds remaining. $30 seconds remaining. $15 seconds. Break ends in 5 seconds.
Stream the NFL on Westwood One for free, sponsored by AutoZone. All season long, you can listen to every Westwood One broadcast of the NFL live on the NFL app by asking Alexa to open Westwood One Sports, or on the Odyssey app. Get in the zone. AutoZone, the free AutoZone Fix Finder service, can help you find a fix for free. Get in the zone. AutoZone. Restrictions apply. Got to tell you, Maggie, if I could design a Monday night matchup, Cowboys versus Chargers is high up there. I mean, this is going to be amazing. There's going to be so many storylines that come out of this wacky game. I cannot wait. I am so there for it.
Yeah, this one's probably going to be a barn burner just because it's like the Chargers always have the reputation of chargering, but when you add them into a primetime game, it's like it goes up by like a power of 10.
Yeah, and I mean, listen, the Cowboys can do wild things too. Could be a lot of offense in this game, which would be great. I think this could be a really fun one.
It looks like Joey Bosa is going to play. Let's go to the phones, 855-212-4CBS. Our pal Nebby's in Pennsylvania. Good morning, Nebby.
Good morning. Folks, how are you doing today?
Fantastic.
Great.
What's on your mind?
Well, just when you were at the Bogues last update there.
Yeah.
You were talking. You took a shot at Mike McCarthy, and I know you guys do it all the time. And I just don't understand why he gets all the vitriol when he, Tomlin, and
Peyton,
Sean Payton are all pretty much the same coach.
Oh, we criticize the crap out of Sean Payton around here. Or I do, at least.
Recently.
Yeah.
But I mean, nationally, he's like, oh, he's going to fix this. He's going to fix this. Now the shine's starting to come off a little bit.
Yeah.
But they each won one Super Bowl with a Hall of Fame quarterback over 10 years ago.
Yeah. No, I think that the thing about McCarthy, what I say is a bad coach off between Brandon Staley and McCarthy. I mean, listen, I picked the Cowboys to win the Super Bowl, so obviously I think that McCarthy's not that bad. But, I mean, as McCarthy against the 49ers, it's been really bad. That's what we're coming off of. The offense is supposed to look different, and it's still in neutral. So they're a team that is a great front-running team. Can they beat good teams? That's my question. What?
Sees everything.
I just think I don't think you need to apologize here.
Jerry.
I'm not sure Mike McCarthy is the great coach that Nebby thinks he is. I think he's okay, and I think Tomlin's a little better. I think Sean Payton's a little better. It's just because McCarthy could have won more with Aaron Rodgers.
That's why.
But his message got so stale in Green Bay. Listen, he has done a good job in Dallas.
Carpe omnia.
But good. The problem is McCarthy has expectations to win a Super Bowl there, and I just think that he might be in the way more than helping. I don't know why.
Let's get to Francois, who is in Dallas. Good morning, Francois.
I appreciate you taking my call. Do I have time to make two comments or just one?
How about your best one?
Okay, I'm not going to address the McCarthy situation because I have a stab, but I wanted to talk about Micah Parsons. And if you could put me on hold so I could hear your response, I'd appreciate it.
Sure.
I think that obviously it hurts him not having Van Der Esch at 6'4", 256 playing Mike.
Yeah.
But I think that, and I think Quinn will figure this out over time, that playing Parsons on the ball, he's only 253. So, like against Arizona, they attacked him from the gun, and they ran pull scheme on him. So what they're doing is they're pulling guards and tackles and getting a lot of big guys on him, hitting him with fullback and tight end, and he's not a defensive end.
Yep.
Now, if he was 6'5", 265, that'd be a different animal. But because of his size, they're running at him and hitting him a lot. But when you play him off the ball, because he's a 4.35 linebacker, that changes everything. So he can run and strike, and it makes him a better football player off the ball. And I think even moving forward, you'll see him playing more off of the ball and then blitzing him from a linebacker position. I think there'll be a much better defense playing in that way.
Well, Francois, I mean, there's your breakdown.
That all tracks with me.
Yeah, I mean, you've said it a lot. That's like the one way to neutralize Parsons is sort of run at him as opposed to letting him get off and get to the quarterback.
Oh, don't get me wrong. He will have a 5-yard tackle for loss of your running back at any given time. He is spectacular. But that logic, I mean, it's a little weird because Arizona's quarterback ran too. Dobbs was running all over them. Can't tell anything from San Francisco. Tonight's a big test for Parsons. And I'm going to watch, it's another reason to watch tonight. How do they use Parsons? I think that's a really good point.
Hung is in Pennsylvania. Good morning, Hung.
Good morning, Maggie. How you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you?
Good. I agree with Perloff this morning about the 49er and the game and the Eagle game.
Yeah.
In my opinion, I watched the video that highlights about 100 times. And, I see the Jet and the Brown had crashed. And I want to know how much the Vegas really paid the 49er and the Eagle to lose a bowl game. Because there's no way they missed both kicks, and no way Jalen Hurts throw that interception with double coverage both times.
Hung, believe it. He made the mistake, Hung. He made the mistake.
No way. They got to pay them good.
Hung,
and they probably paid them a lot of money, but you got the knowledge. I know you got the knowledge. How much they got paid for bowl game, though? I want to know.
I'm with you on every sports conspiracy theory I'm in on. I don't know if Vegas paid the Eagles and the 49ers to lose yesterday.
I cannot. Hung does have a valid point. I cannot understand Jalen Hurts' interception at the end of the game.
How about saying, hey, the Jets defense played well, Perloff? Is that going to kill you?
I mean, come on. That play, why would you throw that ball in that situation against your body all the way across the other side of the field into double coverage. And it was an amazingly dumb play. If he hadn't done that, the game is basically over. All I have to do is hand the ball off, punt it back to Zach Wilson at the 10.
I think the Jets had Hurts rattled. Had him against the ropes.
I don't care if you're going against the 85 Bears. Take a knee. Do anything. Why you would throw that risky of a pass is insane.
I think it's funny, too. It's like, and who is this guy, Tony Adams, like, who came up with the big interceptions? Like, I don't know. Undrafted guy. Good for him. Gets a moment in the sun.
Yeah, that play was a mess. You're right, maybe Hurts was rattled, but even so, you got to just take the sack there. Run the clock. Zach Wilson is not going to drive the field. We know that. Come on.
Let's get to our shot of the day.
He shoots! He scores!
And the shot of the day is brought to you by Casamigos Tequila. Casamigos Tequila is brought to you by those who drink it. It was a Casamigos weekend at my house, as they mostly are. I love it that way. Today's shot of the day, a little snapshot of the show, comes from earlier. We started talking about Travis Kelce. How handsome is he?
You're the judge, Maggie. Is Travis Kelce? He's a good-looking man, right?
Yeah, he's fine.
Woo.
That was my wife's take, too. Like, he's yeah, but like, okay. Like, take him or leave him.
So he's not Jimmy G.
I'm not sure my wife knows who Jimmy Garoppolo is.
But
she knows.
Okay.
She definitely does.
It didn't come up in this. There was not a direct comparison because they didn't really know who Travis Kelce was as this whole Taylor Swift thing was starting. So I just show her and my daughter a picture, and they both were like, he's fine, but not like...
I mean, he had
safe.
a dating show.
He's looked better. I don't love this haircut mustache combination.
His outfits are
I'm nitpicking.
terrible, though.
Well, he's dating a rock star now, so he's got.
No, he's always dressed. His dress has always been quite charismatic. Yeah, the dude wears a red suit with a t-shirt underneath it, like all the time. He dresses kind of funny. To me, but then again, what do I know? I'm not exactly a fashionista.
He's definitely a good-looking guy. What I thought was funny yesterday is he was on the sideline. He was on the Eagles sideline.
Yeah, he looked good in that green. That he dressed perfectly.
Well, he was wearing the shades, the "I'm so hungover" from the after party at SNL, likely on the sideline. But I'm like, all right, think about that. That's an active NFL player on a team that you just lost the Super Bowl to. He's now on the sideline of your game.
Kelsey's transcend any team. This is the NFL's premier set of brothers. Sorry, Diggs, but I think that there's just so much love there. There's so much positivity.
Yeah, I know, but I don't know. It's kind of like isn't he the enemy a little bit to be over on your sideline? What if he snags this play sheet or something?
No, come on.
Brings it back to Steve Spagnuolo.
The Kelseys in the summer go to the Jersey Shore and bartend together. Like, he's basically adjacent to Philly. We kind of count Travis as one of ours now.
What?
Yeah. Kelce, he
just
comes to Philly all the time.
Bowl.
Yeah. Jason seems to never go to Kansas City, ironically. I'm sure he enjoys some barbecue there. I have no problem with that.
I thought it was a little odd, but whatever. I'm sure he was, I'm assuming he was out partying with the SNL crew.
I don't know. You got to be careful here. We don't want the Swifties on us. Any criticism of Travis in any form now is a direct shot at Taylor.
What about just like football criticism? Can you criticize if he runs the wrong route or something?
When are you going to the movie? When are you going to go see Eras?
I'm sorry, what?
What do you think this relationship is all about?
Oh, I'm sorry.
What?
Yeah. If I wasn't able to get to a movie theater to see Oppenheimer, what makes you think I'm going to be able to get there to see Eras?
My wife goes to me the other day, okay, we have 2 tickets to go see the Eras tour next weekend with my 11-year-old. She goes, do you want to go or should I go? I said, I don't know. She goes, you have to stand up and dance in the movie theater. I'm like, you go. Do you know the whole thing is a 3-hour dance party in a movie theater? That's like the 7th layer of hell for me.
I would pay anything to see Perloff boogieing in
a movie
theater.
Yeah, you really would not want to pay for that, man.
Oh, come on. Thank you, EJ Stewart. Thank you to Pete Pilati. Thank you to Andrew Bogish and to Andrew Kaplan as well. The Weedos and the Coffee Drinkers, the callers. You guys are the best. Enjoy Cowboys Chargers tonight. Talk to you tomorrow morning.